Hello and welcome to another episode of Diplo Strats. I'm here once again with Ezio. Hi Ezio.
Hello, hello.
And today we're going to be looking through another one of Ezio's games. This one is the fourth in the Olympus Run series. So this is the second semi-final. And if I remember correctly, you weren't supposed to be in this one, right?
Yeah, I was placed too low to qualify, but thankfully one of the people above me had to drop out, and as a result, they needed one extra person to fill the slot, and I was the highest qualified who didn't qualify for this second semifinal. So they brought me in, and I made it by the skin of my teeth. But obviously, I'm last in Paris order as a result, so I have no say in what country I get.
Yeah, so, on that note, this is a miraculous second chance that has appeared for you. So hopefully this game will go well. You said you're last in the Paris method order, which means last country selection. I know you're on a power that typically isn't last in the country selection. You're on Italy,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So,
Oh yeah,
how did that go?
I was ecstatic. I was unbelievably happy to be given Italy in this last pick. I was pretty confident I was going to be Turkey again, and I was pretty confident that what happened to me in my first semifinal was going to happen to me in this semifinal, and that I was going to just die.
Yeah, notably, if people want to know why high level diplomacy players really hate drawing Turkey in these style of top board games, because the way that this is formatted here is only the person who gets the most centers will go through. You can watch the previous video in this series in which Ezio got Turkey, and things went a bit downhill from there. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I wasn't Turkey this time. I was Italy. Italy would, for me, is like my maybe second or third choice if I were picking countries. I would probably pick like France, England, then Italy. Oh, in maybe that order. So I'm really happy. I'm ecstatic to have Italy here. It's wonderful. Like hell yes.
Yeah. I mean, Italy
Yeah,
can be a really hard nation to play, but it also just has a really good performance in top boards, I think, generally.
it just works, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
There was a downside to being Italy here. So this is the second semifinal, and if those who watched the previous game are going to recognize some of these names, so you might remember in our previous game that Swack was in that game, who was Germany in this one. In the last game, he was Italy, one of the main conspirators in my demise. Another one was KTS, who was reprising his role as Austria. Um, so he's Austria again. And last game, he told me he was going to attack me and fought with me until we both died. So I'm Italy, and I'm between the two of them, ish. I don't know if you consider Germany there, but like they can really mess with me from the very start of the game. Um, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Um,
I
Based on early negotiations, you can see it. Sorry, but I'm really worried about that as the start of the game. Sorry, that's the whole point. Is I look at these neighbors and I think, oh, if people continue from last game, I'm in bad shape.
yeah, just before we covered those initial negotiation, I wanted to
Yeah,
mention, so these power rankings are in the order that people selected powers, right? This is
I
a
think so. Yeah,
it's a really weird one. Austria being taken second. Like, Austria is usually second last, just taken before Turkey as a, like, my only other option is Turkey, so I guess I have to take Austria now. So yeah, KTS clearly really wanting to play Austria in this game.
yeah,
Yeah, well, we'll see
yeah.
how it goes. I
I'm
I
glad I
am
wasn't Austria.
I'm so interested in these opening negotiations because the board is unusual in this area.
Well, my negotiations with Austria were really quite straightforward. Austria said, "Hey, I want to do something fun this game." I said, "Hey, want to do a Key Lepanto?" Austria said, "Sure, let's do it."
Wow.
More or less, that was the entirety of the negotiation with Austria. Um, and that was great. What I also figured out through the negotiations with Austria is that I don't think Austria knows the standard moves in a Key Lepanto, namely that Italy usually doesn't convoy to Tunis. And that usually Italy goes into Aegean, and we just get Trieste as the one build. I think Austria was under the impression that Key Lepanto just meant I move into Trieste and move into Serbia while still doing my convoy into Tunis.
I mean,
So I did that.
that's really great news for you, right? Because the whole going into Aegean thing, yeah, it makes you much faster against the Turk, but really it's a sacrifice. It's quite a big sacrifice on the Italian part in return for being able to do the Key Lepanto, right? And being able to get the build from here. Um, just being able to get two builds in 01 while Key Lepantoing and not stabbing Austria, obviously, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's kind of the dream.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty pleased with that, obviously. And the rest of my negotiations were kind of all just standard opening negotiations. I agree with France that we're going to demilitarize Piedmont. Leon was the whole thing. We're friends. Let's be friends. I'll be French to do French things. And since I'm getting big, actually, you know what? I take it back. I do need to talk about opening negotiations. Um, I had been talking with England and Germany about attacking France wholesale early on. Sorry, that this is an important part of the game actually that is quite relevant in spring of '01, which normally there isn't. And these negotiations are stuff that I do kind of every game as Italy, but this game they were much more lively and seemed to be more impactful. And there was in fact a three-person chat with England, Germany, and I where we all were talking about going into Piedmont. Where I was going into Piedmont, Burgundy, Germany goes into Burgundy, and England goes into the English Channel, and we are like crush France early on, just demolish them because that's just a really good thing for kind of all of us. It's a top board. They had the highest seed. They picked France first. They're going to be a strong player. Let's knock them out while we can, and then none of us have to worry about France being France in the mid game.
Yeah, I
It's a great pitch.
I noticed that two of those moves happen.
Yeah. So I told both of them. I never, strictly speaking, promised that I was going into Piedmont, but I made it seem very likely I was going to go to Piedmont.
Mm-hmm.
And then shortly before the end of the phase, they were like pinging for confirmation, the standard like last minute stuff, and I say, "Oh, hey guys, sorry, I got a deal I can't refuse. I can't go to Piedmont, sorry." And the two of them are not happy.
I can imagine, yeah.
The two of them were like, "What? We've been talking the entire opening phase about this move. What do you mean?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry. I promise I'm not attacking you, Germany. I promise we're still good. I can't do it." And honestly, guys, with that offer from Austria, there's no way, right? There's no way I'm supposed to go to Piedmont here.
Yeah.
Like, Austria's giving me the strongest position in the game, and I need to just say yes to that. And by dragging my feet, hopefully England and Germany have spent too much time marinating about this plan, and they still commit to it.
I mean,
Um,
they did. Did you tip France off, or was this just good
Absolutely
prediction?
not.
Um,
No, I think Germany did. I haven't had
okay.
that confirmed, but I'm pretty sure that after I sent this at the last minute, that Germany then told France, "Hey, there's a triple going after you. Move to the English Channel."
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what happened. I'm not sure. That wasn't even confirmed in AARs, and I should probably have checked that. But based on Germany was very angry with me, and based on what happens going forward, I suspect that's what occurred.
Yeah, I mean, so I can see why they're so angry at you, right? Because, like, looking at this, even if London had gotten into English Channel here, the attack is kind of ineffective. You get Burgundy, yeah, that's great. Marseille can be covered, Paris can be covered, and there's usually here you would want the army in Piedmont to coordinate on Marseille, and then France has to make some really risky guesses to protect everything they have. Right, they have to tap Burgundy and go back from Spain to cover, and even if they do that. You know, if Italy supports Germany down, they still lose Marseille. If Germany goes into Paris, you have an even worse situation because then Spain walks back out to Marseille, you lose Paris, and Picardy goes down to Burgundy. So it can be a really brutal attack against France, but without that Italian assistance, it just doesn't do very much. um,
I think you're underselling it. Especially if Liverpool goes to Wales, so there's this convoy into Belgium to look out for. Um, because if you're willing to just support into Belgium, it goes pretty great. And you need to move to end up in English Channel. Obviously, when it gets bounced in English Channel, there's just nothing.
mhm.
But with operational security, if Brest is in Mid-Atlantic Ocean, then it goes pretty well. You can get the convoy into Belgium. You can tap Gascony. You can, if they're in Mid-Atlantic Ocean, then are they going to take Portugal? Are they covering Brest? They have lots of brutal guesses here. And if you just get into Belgium, things go remarkably okay for the EG. For the EG against France. Piedmont makes it a lot better. I can understand why they were pissed. I kind of promised them that I was going to do something, and even though I, strictly speaking, didn't promise it, I pulled the rug out from under them at the last minute, and they were pissed.
Yep.
What are they going to do about it, eh?
Yeah, I mean, they're on the other side of the board. You do not have to worry about them being annoyed.
Yeah.
That is
Totally
really bad
doesn't
advice for a top board situation.
Yeah, I mean, totally it's not that important, really. Like, it'll be fine. And I will say it's mostly bad advice, but there is an element of truth to it. And if you have to pick somebody to piss off people on the other side of the board, not your neighbors.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If you're choosing one or the other, then yes. And I do think that you were correct to go with the Key Lepanto over a Piedmont attack, because Piedmont attack generally just benefits the other side of the board. Key Lepanto is directly benefiting you a huge amount, right?
Yeah.
And in Key Lepanto, Austria is taking all the risks. If this fails, then probably is Turkey bouncing you out of Serbia. You still get the dot here, and you're convoying to Tunis. So you're going to be in an insane position no matter what. What I was saying when I say this is generally inadvisable is if you're really annoying people on the other side of the board, in a top board situation, quite often the end game comes down to, is someone really annoyed at you? They might just decide that you shouldn't have the win, right? Which it can be super bad for you in that situation. But hopefully, then it is just Spring 01. If you're still pleasant to them through the rest of the game, then maybe you can win that diplomatic capital back, right?
Yeah, and when I explained to them, look, guys, Austria was offering me to walk into Trieste and was happy about it. How am I supposed to not do that? Right?
Yeah.
That's really the pitch. And it's like, I think any like warm-blooded diplomacy player understands that you gotta walk into Trieste, man.
Yes, I think what they wouldn't understand is why you didn't tell them about this with more time to go before the end of the phase, right?
I mean, I'm not around that much.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, when was this game being played? This game was I was on vacation for most of this. I was leading up to vacation.
I guess you could just say, "Hey, I was recording a Diplo Strats commentary for the rest of the phase. Sorry, guys."
Well, I use that excuse all the time, and it's remarkably real how often that's true. Shout out to Phoebe right now. I literally use that excuse to someone saying sorry, can't message. Yeah. So look, it was a great. I'm very happy with how the opening went. I'm not the best at getting people not pissed at me, but high level, I think it is really good. If I can get the EG to work together to attack France, that's wonderful for me. That's the dream.
Yeah.
I don't want to see like France get really strong and then move into the Med and attack me. I want to avoid that at all costs, and the simplest way to do that is to just keep France weak. So that's great. In the East, my negotiations go fine. I talked to Russia. We're talking about Wintergreen, where I was like, okay, great, we'll kill Italy, then we'll kill Austria. That's wonderful. Or sorry, we'll kill Turkey. Excuse me, we'll kill Turkey, then we'll kill Austria. That's great. Let's have a great time. And to Turkey, it's like, hey, we can do an IT. You just like can't build fleets ever.
Yeah.
Which is a thing, but it's a tough sell because Turkey's like, yeah, if I don't build a fleet, you just kill me. And like, yeah, if he doesn't build a fleet, I'd probably just kill him. And if he does build a fleet, like, I don't know, it's tough.
Oh, were you asking them not to build a fleet on the first year?
Yeah.
Okay, I would say generally Italy-Turkey alliances get pitched with you can have one more fleet and then that's it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I already have Austria who's going to let me Key Lepanto, I feel like I can push for a little more.
Oh, 100%, yeah. I mean...
So it's like, right, exactly. So because I already have such a guaranteed strong position here, it's going to take a lot to push me off of it.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, if Turkey agrees to never build a fleet, like maybe, but also maybe Turkey doesn't build a fleet and then they just attack Turkey, right? So I don't know. I don't. The negotiations with Turkey weren't that great, but they also didn't feel that important to me, given that Russia's happy to Wintergreen and that Austria's happy to Key Lepanto.
Yeah, that
So
all
I'm like,
seems
all
like
right.
you've got plenty of options, right? I do want to give a shout out to this Austria player, KTS, for doing a Key Lepanto on a top board. That is kind of iconic, but also, God, this has gone wrong in so many ways for Austria already on the very
Well,
first turn.
strictly speaking, this isn't the top board. This is still the semifinals.
Well, yes, but a top
Finals are
board
the top
situation where you have to be,
qualifier. Yeah.
yeah, you have to be number one, because I think the main advantage of the Key Lepanto is that it locks you in so, like, emotionally with the Italian player. Just like, you're both very invested in making this work, as long as you don't
We
get
are.
an absolute bastard in your Italy, right?
Oh, sorry.
No, okay, so you have to... As someone who's played the Key Lepanto repeatedly as Austria when I was starting out in the game, the general like win condition for it is finding an Italy who is the kind of player who likes doing awesome stuff, right? Things that look very cool and doesn't care as much about winning. You do the awesome thing and it locks you in so solidly together that then you run over the rest of the board together. And then if you're like me, you stab them at the last moment and get the win, right? When you really have no right to, because Italy is more powerful than you for most of the game. But because you form that connection with them, they don't go for the stab. And that's not going to happen on a top board because Italy knows that they have to win the game, right? They have to be ahead of you. So it's kind of insane, but also iconic that it's happening.
Yeah. I feel like most Italy's are just going to say yes to the Key Lepanto, and it's going to be great for the first, like, minute and a half while you're on the high of them saying yes to the agreement. And then the reality kicks in, and you realize you just let them walk an army into Trieste, and you have nothing to say about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the time, notably with the Key Lepanto, if Italy convoys to Tunis like this, it is considered a step. And then the key is off, and then Austria and Italy are at war, and then everyone's sad and unhappy now. It's usually followed up by Army Venice as part of the stab. Um,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so
Do you want to
important.
go to fall moves? Or do you want to
Just
keep
real
talking
quick
about
before the full
key?
moves, super
Yeah.
important things to note about the Key Lepanto. Obviously, the standard Key Lepanto doesn't involve Italy convoying to Tunis. You would move into Aegean. Also, the standard Key Lepanto can be very easily countered by a bounce in Serbia because there is never a unit able to support that can't be cut. So that's always a weakness. But the standard Key Lepanto also tries to get rid of some of its weaknesses by convincing Russia to go north into St. Petersburg with the Moscow unit, and by having a DMZ in Galicia that Austria then breaks, so they get into Galicia with this unit. Both of those didn't happen here, and given what you said about the Tunis convoy, I assume this is more because Austria doesn't know the standard way of doing the Key Lepanto, right? And less because they weren't diplomatically able to get Russia to do those things. I think they may just have not tried in the first place and not realized quite how bad it is if this kind of opening happens. Because now Russia has 2 on Romania, they can kick you right out, and you've got nothing in Galicia as well. And of course, it's a top board situation, so Turkey is going to see this and go, oh, that's a Key Lepanto, and they're not going to support hold Romania, which is the other thing you're supposed to convince someone to do. Alright, well, shall we move ahead to the fall then?
Yeah.
Alright, fall 1901. Do you want to talk us through what's going on here? Oh, God,
Austria's sad.
Poor Austria.
That's the short answer of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's womp womp.
That's so painful. So
I
Austria
mean,
gets no builds, right?
yeah.
And you get two. This is
Oh man.
quite the alliance
Womp
you've
womp.
got going.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I haven't stabbed. This is agreed. Just so we're clear,
Did
I
you
have not stabbed
did you know
at
this
all.
was happening?
I did.
Did
What?
Turkey
What? Do
like outright tell you?
I think so.
Yeah, and you were like,
But like,
"That's
what? Am I
fine."
supposed to let Turkey in there? I don't think so.
No, you always go there. Did you try to convince them to let you into Serbia, or was that like,
I
yeah, that's
mean,
fine?
it's like I don't think I tried particularly hard. I mean, I told them I was going there, and so like it's just a waste of time. But like Turkey would rather Austria have the build, right? Would rather Austria not have the build if Austria is doing this, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Or maybe I told them I was stabbing in Budapest. I don't know. I might have told them I was stabbing for something stupid. Or just supporting them into Serbia. Man, I don't remember the exact specifics. My negotiations with Turkey this game kind of felt completely irrelevant because they were Turkey.
yeah,
Right?
um,
As just happens, I'm Italy in this game, and like, yeah, I don't know.
yep. Um,
Like, I made offers that I was serious about. If Turkey followed through, I would have been willing to do them. But these offers were extreme things like no fleet builds, right? That no Turkey is gonna say yes to. Things like uh, at this point they were gonna build a fleet. I forget how you're what offer I was trying to make here, but like Austria's offered me everything
yeah.
for nothing, and so like I'm of course just gonna like keep working with them, right? This is if you do this to me, you'll get me as your ally every game. Um,
Yeah,
I don't
whether you want
recommend
this
it.
kind of alliance is another question.
Exactly, right? I wouldn't recommend this approach, but like this is it locked me in, right? I
Mhm.
was never gonna stab him.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know, right? Like it's rough. This was the East. So this is like about what I expect, which is fine. And now it's mostly just seeing, yeah, is Russia gonna just choose to go with the RAI, where we then kill Turkey, or is he gonna try to make this an AT versus sorry, Austria, Italy versus Juggernaut situation?
Yeah.
And so I've been pushing Russia pretty heavily on this because I'm happy to work. And something that makes more sense to me now when you were talking about how the Key Lepantos often work and that they're these emotional things where Italy like becomes super emotionally attached to Austria and doesn't want to stab them. Like I wasn't feeling that. And so I'm just looking at this position where I'm like, okay, there's this three center weak Austria who's super separated. And I'm happy to still do a standard thing when we wintergreen and we kill Turkey and then we kill Austria after. That still seems great to me. I'm going to be stronger in that position than most Italy's are because I'm going to have such an edge already due to these opening negotiations. But it still seems solid to me from Russia. And so that's the pitch that I give to Russia, and we'll see how things go from there. But I'm feeling good about this. Like, who looks at this opening and isn't like jumping for joy is Italy? By the way, or if he's fine with me building an army in Venice, right? It's just like, hell
Sorry,
yeah,
he's fine with you building Army Venice.
yeah, he likes that. Let's go. Let's
Really?
dance. Uh-huh.
Okay. I mean, at
Yeah,
this point, when you're down to three centers as Austria, it's in 01, that's really painful anyway. So you kind of just have to say
you
whatever
need
to
more
appease.
armies,
But
right? Literally, we need more armies to fight.
yeah, it's just like, what are those armies gonna do long term? God.
Probably gonna take Vienna.
Yep. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Um. Yeah, it's painful, and I mean this demonstrates just why the Key Lepanto is considered so bad, right? It's amazing for Italy, even if it goes horrendously wrong. You get the builds that you're looking for, and you get a position that you want, and you still have an Austrian ally. I assume you still have an Austrian ally anyway.
Because I haven't stabbed.
Yeah, because you haven't stabbed, but you've suddenly got the position on them.
Yeah,
And
it's not.
Yeah.
This is why you don't do the Key Lepanto.
Yes.
This is the classic example of why. You can only commit to it as Austria if you've already got the DMZ and Galicia, and if you already think that Russia's going north.
Yeah, pretty
Like,
much.
if those things are happening, then you can consider risking it. Personally, by the way, I like the variant where you go to Budapest instead of Galicia with the DMZ, because then you can actually support Trieste into Serbia. So you go Budapest to Romania, Vienna to Budapest, and you support Trieste to Serbia, and you have a solid chance at getting your four. Um,
Yeah, I
but
could see it.
anyways, don't worry too much about the stuff. You don't then support Old Romania, and so it's whatever. But the point is, that's when those are the conditions that I think must be met, and you have to feel like you have a complete scrub in Italy. Honest to God. Um,
uh,
like I just, yeah,
yeah, I think complete scrub and alliance player in this case, those are the two options. But if you get someone who's a very strong player who is generally regarded as an alliance player, often the Key Lepanto puts them in a position where they become not an alliance player in the long run because it's just so good the position over you. They have the option for an alliance with like Russia that ends up being much stronger than the alliance with you, and they just go, you know what? I think I gotta take that offer, even if I'm stabbing someone I like, right? Um, it's tough.
yeah. I don't think anyone's ever gonna kill a Ponto with me ever again.
I'll kill a punter with you if you're Austria.
I'll kill a Ponto with you if I'm Italy, and I'll actually move into Aegean, and I won't take Tunis.
Yeah, I think that will still go badly for me. But yeah, the Key Lepanto, I don't think it's ever a strategically wise decision as Austria. I think it can be a cool option as Austria. You generally don't want to be playing for cool options on a like high level board where you actually want to win, right?
I will note, it does give you a better stab of Italy than a lot of other Austrian openings.
Mm.
It does, because the Italian army gets pushed forward, and they are less likely to be able to defend.
Oh, for sure.
So
If it all works out, it can be fantastic. But
yeah,
I don't think it's ever
it
going to work
failed.
out.
I haven't played a game where it's worked yet.
Hmm. I mean, I have, but
I
they were all when I was starting out, so they were kind of low level games, right, where people didn't
Yeah, it
recognize
works
it.
out. That's fine. So if you look over at the West in this actual game, we can look at what's going on, and there's this fun three-way bounce in Belgium. So you know somebody lied there. You don't know who exactly lied yet. In this particular example, I think you do. It's pretty clearly that Germany lied, because England was expecting to get supported into Belgium based on this whole thing, and then the move into English Channel. England was expecting to keep going after France, and then Germany did not go through with it. I don't know if Germany was expecting to get supported into Belgium or not, but I mean, yeah.
I think Germany probably just arranged the bounce here. I don't know. It's tough. I'm No, yeah, you definitely ask France to just support you into Belgium if you're suddenly working with them here, and that is the only reason why I see that you would do this.
As
Uh,
a, like, I can see supporting into Belgium seems reasonable. My preference would have been to just tap Paris, because then if France does this, you can still go to England and say, "Hey, I'm still anti-France," right? I assumed he was going to cover Paris, not tap Belgium. So sorry, buddy. It's okay. I'll support you on the Brest next year, and then you still have an ally, but France is stuck on three. Um,
yeah, but I
but
assume that this move means that Germany is made up with France in some way, right?
yeah, but like, why
Which
would she do that?
which moving into Paris jeopardizes a little.
A little, yeah. But my question is, why would you? Why? Why would you want to make up with France like that? The
Um,
sport is so good for Germany if you want to just keep on the EG and you just take Paris, right?
yeah, I mean it is true. I wonder if they just decided that they trusted France more, but I don't know. We
Maybe.
can't see the negotiations, right? It
Yeah.
feels like
It could have
something
been
would
a
have to be
thing
negotiated.
where, yeah, I could see a thing where the negotiations were such that England was so demanding that they get supported into Belgium instead of the tap on Paris, that Germany felt that tapping Paris would also be stabbing England, and therefore France and England would be able to make up and actually take out Germany together.
Mhm.
And so he felt that he didn't want to support them into Belgium, and he'd rather, if he's not getting a dot out of the situation anyways, he might as well work with France over England. I could see that happening. And if that's what happened, don't be too pushing negotiations, but I don't know. I'm not sure about it. But I know that Germany did flip here, and that's pretty bad.
I think that's pretty insightful, right? Because I could absolutely see in England in this position being super pushy about getting supported into Belgium. Because if you're doing this moveset, if you don't get into Belgium, you are so screwed. Like, a lot of the time in this kind of situation, I would still decide to just go for Norway, because if you don't take Norway in 01, Russia usually just decides, hey, that's a reason why I should get some claim to it, right? It's empty, I have a unit here, I can build another unit here, and you can't get in it anymore, so it's mine now.
Yeah, especially with Germany siding with Russia and not bouncing Sweden.
Yes,
It's like it's all over for England from here. Like
Mhm.
England's not going to get a build for the rest of the game. The only question is how fast is England going to die, and the answer is usually pretty fast.
Yeah, precisely. Alright, anything more to say about this?
I'm pretty sad about this. Just I would rather see England do well. When I'm Italy, I want a strong England because that means that France and Germany aren't pushing after me. They're dealing with England usually.
Mhm.
So I'm sad about this, but nothing to be done for it. I'll feed England whatever I can to help keep them up, but it's not gonna go too well. Yeah, let's go to the winter. See the
Makes
Bills.
sense. Oh, one more thing I want to mention here. I think Germany as well probably was hoping that France would go, I don't really trust you, and move Spain to Marseille. Because you know in this position, Germany has told France, I'm not going to Marseille, right? And then in that
Yeah,
situation, you really want to see this unit move back and go, wasn't my fault. You should have trusted
yeah,
me.
yeah. The Spain hold is one of those moves that it's expected.
Mhm.
Even if Germany is stabbing, Germany is usually stabbing for Paris, not Marseille.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like that's what I would expect to see. So, eh. Um, there are worlds though where the Marseille is open, right? And you could stab Marseille and Picardy covers Paris, so I could see it. But like Picardy covering Paris is a lot more free than Spain covering Marseille.
Yeah.
So I can see Spain holding makes a lot more sense. Anyways, we can go on to the next. Let's go to the winter to see the builds.
Alright, winter 1901. Fleet in the south here, which is forced by Fleet Brest still being there, but I imagine you're not very happy to see it.
Oh, I don't give a crap. I'm totally fine with that fleet in Marseille.
I
He's not coming after me. Not in a million years is that fleet attacking me.
I bet you would have preferred to see army here, right? But yeah, France is not going to build an army.
Probably.
It's their first build and only build, I assume.
Yeah, I think I would have preferred to see Army Paris over Fleet Marseille, but I don't like. It's fine. I'm happy. Like France is attacking England. This will take a bit. I wish England were a little stronger, so it would take a little longer for England to die because I'm worried England's gonna die in like 2 years flat.
Yeah.
So, but look, it's okay. Like my position in the East is going well. The more important part is what's going on in the East. And yeah, Fleet Smyrna. Oh no, who could have foreseen such doom? Um,
I don't think I've ever seen a 1901 before where two powers have no builds. That's kind of insane.
Oof, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
this board got lopsided pretty quickly.
I think England has at least some lifeline by Army St. Pete instead of Fleet St. Pete here. Like, Fleet St. Pete North Coast would be
Yeah.
really painful, but this is just a little painful because it's saying,
You know,
I might stop at Norway.
I actually disagree with that. I think England would have rather seen Fleet St. Pete North Coast because it
Really?
means there's more of a chance for tension.
Mm,
Right? When Russia builds Fleet St. Pete North Coast, right, they're usually saying, I don't want just Norway, I also want Edinburgh. That's
yeah,
often
that's
what's
true.
implied by that. And it means that they have a better stab on Denmark because Norway can go to Skagerrak. And so when negotiations with Germany break down, because Germany's like, wait a minute, Russia, you want Edinburgh. I'm already negotiating with France, and France is getting like Belgium and London. The only dots I'm getting out of England are Eddie and Liverpool or something. Plus ones too. But Eddie almost always goes to Germany in that world. Russia, you want Eddie now. Hold up, what am I getting out of this deal? And then things can break apart, and then you can have a fleet, and you can have a more viable ally from Russia. So when I'm like dying like this in England, I want to see as much people frothing for my dots as possible, because then if they're frothing for my dots, maybe they'll froth for other dots too, and they can't get mine. Something.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair assessment.
But yeah, Army St. Pete means it's probably not going into like Norwegian Sea anytime soon.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, it is a probably, because you can force this fleet forward and then go to Norwegian army over convoy to Clyde, right? But it's...
Yep.
Uh,
It leaves Sweden open.
yeah, I would say this generally means that Russia just wants to go to Norway and then sit on these two.
Yep.
Right, anything else to talk about here, or do you want to just move ahead?
So here is let me double check the phases that I saw, because I want to make sure that I get the timing of these things right. Because I talk to Russia and we're trying to figure out what to do about Serbia. And I'm like, hey Russia, if we're just doing a standard Russia, Austria, Italy, how about you just support me into Serbia?
Right.
Because Austria doesn't have any. Austria's not going to say no to that. That's fine. And then we can work on Bulgaria. And you know what? Since Austria's so weak, I'll support you into Bulgaria. I think. And I don't remember if Russia says yes to that or not.
Right.
Let me double check.
I'd be a bit, like, about doing that, just because it makes you even more powerful and you're already, like, incredibly powerful, right? And it looks like you're on side with Austria still. I've obviously, as Russia, had to stab Austria to get into, well, or attack Austria to get into Romania in the first place. I'm not sure about powering up your alliance here. I would probably stick with Turkey for a little bit, at least at first, just to make sure that you are willing to attack Austria.
Got it. My sense of timing was off by a phase. So we talked about this move into Serbia in the spring, like in the winter during the fall. So here we were going into like in the in the previous phase. We'd already talked about the support into Serbia. Russia had confirmed they were interested in doing that. They don't respond to me much during this phase.
Okay.
Yeah, they respond very little, and I offer to support them into Budapest actually, because we are already at the point in my mind where Russia goes into Galicia. I take Serbia, right? If he supports me into Serbia, I'll support him into Budapest, and then Austria is just dead.
Okay. So you're offering, if you support me into Serbia, I'll then
Yeah,
support you into Budapest.
yeah. Russia doesn't respond to me this phase.
Mhm.
He literally doesn't send me a message in spring of '02.
Yeah, I think that's the reaction you'd expect from someone who looks at this, goes, "Oh, that's AI. They're sticking together." And
Yeah, but like
I need to go
that's
against
bad.
them. If you offered me support into Budapest this turn as Russia, I would say hell yes and probably go for it.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, but
But
I'm not gonna do that because
yeah.
that's insane.
Because that
Um,
sacrifices your incredibly powerful position and alliance structure to like help Russia out.
yeah, and then you can still stick with Turkey, and then I'm left holding the bag, where I've just stabbed the person who gave me everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. I'm only willing to do that if it'll also like if we're gonna integrate and finish off Turkey. But yeah, I couldn't do that in the spring. But again, Russia literally didn't even ask for it. Russia did not message me in the spring,
Mhm.
so okay, that's fine.
All right.
Or sorry, did they send me two messages? Sorry, I sent them a couple of messages, like a fair number of them. I was like a triple sent. I was an annoying bastard here. But Russia sent me two messages very end of the phase saying, did we? No, again, dates are annoying in these things.
Yeah, so this is
Phase.
the... I think Backstabber as well groups the spring and spring retreats together on the messaging thing, so some of the messages that say spring will be after spring has gone through. Um, it,
Yeah.
it makes press quite tough to look over, and it's why I do stuff like Media Wars live instead when you look over the press, because it's much easier than to determine what's happening when.
Yeah. Anyways,
Uh,
Russia wasn't gonna offer me support to Serbia in this phase, but I go for it anyways.
okay.
And Austria's of course happy for it to happen. Austria's like, yes, I'm not dead. Yay.
Yeah, sorry, I advanced there before you said you...
Oh, sorry, all good. Yeah, we can see what happens, right?
Okay. And yeah, I mean, looks exactly like what I expected it to, but you still make progress because
Yeah,
you've got a good position.
right. We have to make progress in the south. There's only one fleet that can do anything, so great, right?
Hmm.
Can only bounce one of these two, and it's great that I'm in Eastern Med. I can go for a convoy. And oh boy, do we have a convoy lined up for you guys. Um, so the convoy that Austria asks me to do is to convoy Tunis into Greece
Tunis to
in exchange for
Greece.
Tunis to Greece in
What?
exchange for me supporting Greece into Aegean and supporting him into Serbia.
Uh, the,
Tunis to Greece.
what, uh,
I say yes. This sounds wonderful.
Why would you ever? Okay.
Maybe I shouldn't. I'm honestly unsure if I should have said this or if I should have gone for the convoy into Syria to eliminate Turkey. Because with this offer, right, I get the sense I recognize that I can probably Austria will give me anything I want at any point in the game.
Mhm.
And maybe I should hold out on that and just actually work on crushing Turkey.
Yeah. I. So the issue there is, of course, that probably Constantinople covers Smyrna and Smyrna covers Syria here, just in case of that kind of thing. Although that does mean Greece can get into Aegean, but then there's nothing to backfill. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was Austria's thought process. Like, everything that this army can be convoyed to is defensible, except for if you convoy it into Greece and support Greece out to Aegean. That is the one exception. I I just think Austria has it too dead set in their mind that you two are working as one power with that, because that's, again, it's just giving you so much. It's giving you everything you could ever want. Like, Italian army Greece means you then have two on Serbia, so Austria is just vassalized to you. There's nothing more they can do. And even if you support them down into Serbia here, they still have Aegean on the board, so they can't rebuild an army here. They're then going to have to rely on you to cover one of these two against the Russian, which means you get even more dots off them, right?
And I get to be the best ally ever.
Ah.
It was the weirdest experience because I have never before had someone ask me to take everything from them one dot at a time like this.
Mhm.
I haven't seen it before.
Well, I mean, sometimes that kind of thing can happen. I think assuming you did take the convoy into Greece, you're absolutely correct to try and do that. Like, that is so much better. Getting that kind of position on a top board is so much better than taking a really not guaranteed move into one of these two.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Notably, in the fall, I think Russia might have heard about this. Austria might have told Russia what was up. Because in the fall, Russia does offer to support me into Serbia again.
Okay.
And I'm like, huh. But Austria wants to be supported into Serbia. And Turkey wants to be supported into Serbia. I think. But I don't know what press Austria sent to Russia and Turkey this phase. Because I don't know what press happened. Yeah, actually, let's talk about the West a bit before we talk about the next phase about so much going on. Because the West, the FG really crystallizes and it's magnificent, and Germany's getting everything, and England is having a bad time. Marseille goes to Spain's south coast, as one would expect, and so I'm perfectly happy with this. France gets to France, and despite being attacked by two neighbors on the opening phase of the game, still gets to go to 5 in year 2, just like normal. Um,
Yep. And will be incredibly difficult to crack. And
yep.
poor England. I mean, they're gonna have to choose between losing English Channel and losing North Sea in the fall turn, which is a painful choice to make.
Spring of 02, it's pretty quick.
Yep. Thankfully, the French fleet is one space buffered from where you would. I mean, actually, that's about the same as where you would expect things to get, I suppose. But
Yeah.
usually you would see Brest having, when you have this kind of alliance, you would see Brest having gotten into Spain South Coast in the first year, so they come back to Mid-Atlantic, and they'll be in one of these two at the end of the fall. So it's one phase further back than you would expect it to be, but that's not much of a lifeline. That's just like...
Yeah, I mean, look, it's one unit being one space further away in exchange for Fleet and Helgoland Bight and Denmark and them being really solid with each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking bad.
Yeah, looking very, very bad.
And that's the West. We don't have to look any more into it. That's really all there is to it. Quite simple analysis. It's wonderful. God. But yeah, so in the negotiations, right, with Russia offering to support me into Serbia, and remember last phase Russia said nothing, so like Russia hasn't lied to me yet. I say sure. Yeah, support me into Serbia. Of course I would, because if I don't want that army in Romania to move. So if it's throwing a support, that's great. That's better for me. And I decided to support Austria into Serbia anyways. And my hope is that Bulgaria moves to Serbia, Russia supports Trieste to Serbia, and Trieste supports Budapest to Serbia, and then Budapest moves to Serbia. So you have like this four-way, four different powers are all doing different things involved with Serbia. And my alliance gets it at the end of the day. That's what I'm hoping for. So yeah.
Shall we...
It's a little annoying. Yeah, my pitch to Russia is like, hey, and my pitch, not that I don't do during the phase, but I plan on doing after the phase, is saying, hey, look, if you were going to give it to me, I just gave it to Austria instead. He had it guaranteed, and we're still just going to go kill Turkey, and then we can kill Austria afterwards. Standard wintergreen stuff.
I mean, you realize how that looks, right?
I mean, come on, man. You'll see me taking Greece as well at the same time, notably.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like, I'm ready to kill Austria whenever we want. Which is something that I recognize and I feel, but I think, to your point, a lot of Italy's might actually feel more emotionally connected to Austria than I do at this point. Whereas I'm just saying, my position is nuts, I can kill him whenever I want, thanks for giving me everything. Let's go to the fall and see what actually happens.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if Russia gives... Oh my god, they gave you the support.
But it was cut.
It was cut. Okay, so it would have bounced. So you did...
It would have bounced in Serbia. So I avoided that weird thing. But what? Why did they... How did... What?
Yeah, this is insane. Russia stabs the Turk by going to Black Sea, I assume.
Presumably, yeah.
I've got to assume that Austria offered support up to Romania. Russia found out about it somehow? What would the support hold on this? Because you would support yourself to Galicia here, right? Surely.
Surely.
Yeah.
And then Turkey did the thing. Turkey attacked Russia. Like, what? They're attacking each other. And Russia might actually help me kill Turkey.
You didn't hear anything about any of this? Like...
I had no clue. I had no idea what was happening over there. Look, I heard I was getting Greece and my mind shut off. It just was like, oh, sweet. I don't have to worry. All right, everything's perfect.
Incredible.
This was insane to me. And then I talked to Russia about it, and I'm like, oh shit, look, you stabbed... Like, I was asking Russia to go to Black Sea, but I don't know if that was confirmed ever. I don't think that was confirmed. Like...
Mm-hmm. It's... It's just insane.
Yeah. No, Russia didn't tell me they're moving to Black Sea. Confirmed. But then after the phase, I'm like, hey, you moved to Black Sea, and you're building. This is amazing. You can put down an army in Sev, you can walk into Armenia, and then you can take Ankara, we can get Bulgaria, and then, like, I think it was in this phase that I pitched one of the most brutal attacks that I have ever seen a Wintergreen be able to pull off. Or I think I started pitching it, before builds came in. But it's for the year of 03. And if things worked out, we get both Italy and Austria down to 1 center apiece.
Turkey and Austria, right?
Turkey and Austria down to 1 center apiece, just guaranteed by us.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, right? You can support yourself into Vienna. There's nothing getting built in Vienna, because notably Austria still has the fleet here. You then... I mean, Russia brings the army down around here, which then cuts this thing off. Maybe they... I assume... Oh, you can support the Russian army down to Bulgaria at the same time. Oh my god.
Yeah. So I was the exact thing. I was offering to give Russia Vienna and Budapest. That was the line
Mhm.
that I was offering to draw. I think that's a pretty common divide
Yes.
for the wintergreen. And then I would get Serbia, Bulgaria, Greece, and then like I get Smyrna and he gets Khan and Ank or something. Let me see if I can find the thing. But I was offering to support him into Vienna, to let him take it, and then support him into Vienna, let him take it, and then he can backfill into Galicia, and then he takes Budapest while I take Serbia, and then like we coordinate on Bulgaria in the spring or something. It requires Aegean to support me into Bulgaria, I think, from Greece, but then we just blow him up in the spring and fall anyways.
Mhm.
Like, and meanwhile, Turkey loses Ankara and like Constantinople or Smyrna, I think, and it's just disgusting.
Yeah, so looking at this from my perspective, right, my initial thought going into this was your negotiations with Russia are going to be completely useless. Not taking this support made sense, even if that wasn't going to get cut, because Russia, after this turn, after you getting into Greece, sees this and goes, oh my god, Italy is so strong,
Hmm.
and will work against you. Uh, Looking at the proposed plan that you give here, the fact that they get so much out of that actually makes it pretty tempting to work with you.
Yeah,
Because I was anticipating that you would say to Russia, hey, you get all of these centers around the Black Sea, right? And I
yeah,
get this bunch of centers, and if the pitch is like that, then Russia goes no, because you
yeah.
die.
Yeah, then
After.
I'm just pissing to Russia, hey, please stab Turkey, your ally, and get nothing out of it. I'm not going to help you at all.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Russia's like, I'm just not going to accept that. But no, I'm offering to give Russia Vienna. I'm offering to give Russia Budapest. And then I'm going to get Serbia and Greece. And I'm going to get like Smyrna or Kod or something. And it becomes a pretty standard wintergreen position, just hyper accelerated. Normally you get into these positions in like 1905.
Yep.
We're going to get there in 1903. And I'm like, that's still great. The West has not gotten their shit together. They're like making progress against England, but it's not fast progress against England. Like, I mean, they're not right. They didn't go for North Sea. They didn't take it because after this phase comes through. By the way, once I see them move into Black Sea, right, that's when I recognize there's animosity here. Bounce in English Channel. Like, oh my God, we can make moves here. The two of us can just push.
Yeah.
Um,
You can potentially resolve the East before England is dead, which is
for England, it's like lost the
insane.
North Sea, right?
Um,
Like,
yeah.
and yeah, so that's the pitch, and then we can just start pushing hard on them, and like all that this takes is Russia to build an army in Sev and move it to Armenia, and that's pretty natural given that he moved to Black Sea and Turkey just stabbed, right? Like Turkey thought they were getting supported into Romania, surely.
Yeah.
So Turkey stabbed you. Let's finish him together. Let's just get him out off of the board. We simultaneously, I'm willing to help you destroy my ally. So it's not like I'm asking for you to do something that I'm not willing to reciprocate here. Let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Um, and Russia says, oh, and then we can see the winter
Uh,
where
they
it's
do
Army set.
they do build army serve, huh?
Like,
This
okay,
looks really good for you. um,
yeah, right. This is this is everything we were hoping for. This is the
mhm.
dream. And now they're gonna stab each other. And now we're gonna be in great shape. And then Russia
Weirdly,
tells me no. They're not willing to do that.
oh, Russia tells you no after building army
Yeah.
Sevastopol. Wow.
Yes.
Ouch. I can kind of see why, right? The only if you were following through on your side of the deal, I would absolutely take this as Russia because I think it gives Russia enough of a power boost to justify giving Italy the same power boost. But if I don't know whether you're actually following through or not, and given the fact that this Austria seems vassalized to you, so I don't know whether you'll just decide, hey, this Austria is in my corner completely. I'm just gonna work with them and wipe everyone else off, right? Um,
Yeah.
then I'd say no, or maybe I wouldn't say no, but like I would be more hesitant about the whole thing.
Sure.
I,
The plan did have a slight tactical weakness. Like Romania was exposed for a phase, and if Austria, like if I was worried about Austria lying to Turkey about their moves, which wouldn't happen. Like, look at what Austria's been doing, man. Theoretically, there could have been a chance. And so, yeah, if you expected me to just like use it to have Austria push into you, I could see there being a risk for it. So, like, I don't fully grudge him for saying no. But what it did mean is that I don't have, like, I offered to work with Russia. We had a plan here, but instead, Russia's like, no, just go do your thing. Go and take Vienna. Have fun.
right.
And I'm like,
And
okay.
he's saying, I'm gonna work with Turkey again by doing that, or what?
Maybe.
Well,
I don't remember if he said what he said his relationship with Turkey was like.
right.
I don't. Yeah, he doesn't offer to attack Turkey at all. He's just like, well, you can just go and like kill Austria. Um,
Right.
and then I'm like, dude, I've already taken Greece and Trieste from Austria. You really need me to take more from him? And then he's like, yeah, take Vienna. And I'm like, okay, sure, I'll take Vienna.
You know,
Meanwhile, Austria asks me to cover Vienna.
oh my god, really? I mean,
Yeah,
he kind of has
absolutely.
to, right? There's
Right.
no...
Vienna's open, man.
Yeah, there's no unit to cover that province. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walk into Vienna, give Budapest a support hold, and I'm happy to do these things.
You know,
So that's great.
as Italy here, I think the only thing making me nervous is that Army Marseille build. I almost would have preferred it to be a fleet, so it can't just walk into Piedmont and be annoying.
Yeah, I know.
Because if it's a fleet, yeah, it can launch a heavier attack on you, but it's at least a year delayed, right? You can't reach any of your centers in the first year that it's built, whereas
Yeah.
Army Marseille can come over here and be annoying.
Yes. Yeah, that is definitely the case, right? And like, there's also an army in Munich. They can just walk into Piedmont and Tyrolia right now, and if they come after me this phase with this strong FG, that's frustrating. That's annoying. Because Fleet Marseille is a lot likely to just YOLO itself after me, because Fleet Marseille doesn't take anything this year by itself. It's worse in conjunction with Fleet Mid-Atlantic Ocean, as you were talking about, because they can put this huge fleet wall and seriously attack me. But Army Marseille can just be annoying.
Yep.
And there's something to be said for sending one unit to be annoying. You're France, you have a solid ally in Germany, and Italy maybe is running amok. Right, this Italy looks pretty strong.
Yeah. I mean, this is a power rankings turn, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want me to do the power rankings? Because you know how this went.
Yeah, you can do some power rankings. I'm curious about your thoughts on this one.
Alright, so we're doing old school power rankings here, where before I discovered studio mode in OBS, where I'm gonna move things around, yo! And the first thing I'm gonna do is move this one up to here.
Let's go.
It's not often someone can say that they're effectively playing two powers from the start of the game. And I think that's what you've been able to do here, which is, I mean, honestly incredible. AI, I think, is slightly favoured in AI versus Juggernaut, AI being Austria, Italy, even if they're just working together. When one of them is vassalized to the other effectively, I think that makes Italy insane. So, putting you at the top, my only concern is that you're so strong that you might get people saying, oh, Ezio is too strong, and then things might go downhill. Likewise...
You know, I still only have 6 centers.
That is true.
Can you change your train swap so we can see the center counts at the bottom on this one?
Yes, sorry, there we go. So, Italy at 6, Russia technically has more, but remember Russia is in 2 theatres at once, so it has to deal with that. The others, I mean, Germany's even with you, but I don't know, the 6th centre Germany just doesn't feel as strong as the 6th centre Italy does, just because of how defensible Italy tends to be, right? And here, you're effectively a 9 centre Italy because you're controlling these 3. Or at
I don't
least it
disagree with
feels
putting me
that
in
way.
first. Yeah, I don't disagree with putting me in first. I've only done things that Austria has asked me to do.
This is
Just
true.
just putting that out there.
Likewise, I'm gonna put Austria at the bottom of the power rankings, and just because,
Below England.
yeah,
Wow.
even
I
below
guess I
England.
agree. Yeah, that's tough, dude.
Because
Yeah, I
you've got
disagree.
the problem here is this fleet Aegean, right? I think there could be an argument to be made that they might outlast England if they had another army here instead of this fleet. But with the fleet here, the only way they get a defensive position is if they invite you into more of their centers. And every time that happens, they're inviting you into a position where you can take even more of their centers. So I really don't think this is going to end well for them. And I mean, England is definitely second to last here,
Yeah.
just because they're the one salvation for England, I think. Other than if they manage to get Germany or France to work with them against the other, then they're okay. But that's not going to happen, based on what's happened so far and the fact that neither of them has a clean stab against the other. But their one salvation would be if France sees you as enough of a threat that they then pivot everything south. And I don't think that happens. I think France is going to go, I need to claim the centers that I can get in order to go south and attack Italy. So, England second last. So you're at the top. What's the rest of the order? I think Turkey is third last because you've got such a strong position around them. Just so many units on this front. And of course, Russia did just stab them and is basically holding a knife to their throat, even if they are aligned with one another. So then we've got Germany, France, and Russia to sort out. Russia is technically larger, but I think the fact that Germany and France are hard aligned and going after England together, and Russia is just sat back on these dots, means that these two will have a closer tied alliance, which makes me think that Russia needs to go down. If Russia had a strong alliance with you, I think they could be higher up, but they refused it, right? So
Yeah, hearing me talk about what the press was in the winter phase here tells us that Russia's not gonna work with me because Russia could explode, right? But instead we're gonna
yeah,
fight. We're like, okay, sure, that's fine by me.
exactly. I think I'm gonna actually. So usually in a position like this, I would put France above Germany because France is France. They have a better defensible position, and they can just use that position to stand in place. Look at what's going on, and they can decide, hey, do I want to work with Russia and kill Germany immediately afterwards? Do I want to do anything like that? In this case, I think I'm actually going to put Germany above France, purely because you are so strong, again, that I think France has to go south. Sooner rather than later, which removes a lot of their strategic options in the north, whereas and basically just gives Germany the dominant position in that alliance. So that's my assessment here. This is my power rankings. I'm curious if you agree with them.
I could see putting Russia above France. I agree with what you're saying about France and the potential threat from Italy attacking. I think that Russia, first of all, has two more dots than France, which is always nice, and is under no pressure in the north from England or Germany because they're fighting each other, and either can stab Turkey if they want in the south, or can stab, or at the very least, is safe from Turkey in the south. So Russia's under absolutely no pressure from anyone at any point in the near future, and
Yeah.
has growth potential if things shake out a little differently. Like they can choose to take growth, or they can choose to hurt a solid ally, and I think that's a good place to be. I'm not sure if France can do that, but
Yeah.
this is very close, and I think they're similar. So we think this is great.
Okay. Right. Do you have anything else to add before we move on to the next phase?
Spring.
All right. Spring 1902. No move into Piedmont. That's nice.
Yay! We're saved. Oof.
This is a good move on your part. That was
Hey.
a good guess, right?
Yep. between like Smyrna and Syria versus Bulgaria, basically. And you'll notice that Russia threw all the supports on Bulgaria in the world.
Yeah.
So even if we cut Romania and Khan and went for Bulgaria, we would not have taken. But
I.
notably, actually, the moves that Turkey went for, if I had convoyed into Syria, that also would have worked. So, yeah,
Yep.
it would have been fine either way. But going straight into Smyrna is pretty great.
I mean, yeah, it looks like the RT in general just betted on you guys doing a GNC cut Constantinople and Budapest cut Romania. Um, and this unit was just deciding, okay, he's probably going to convoy to Smyrna instead of to Syria, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
having Austria support this move was a good decision tactically.
Notably, they don't fully crush, right? If they were trying to crush Budapest taps Romania, they could have supported Romania into Budapest, or like supported Galicia into Budapest type stuff.
That's true.
So if they were really trying to crush that order set, they would have done that, and that's actually why I didn't propose we go for it, because I didn't want to risk Budapest here. Like, especially as Italy, when I know that he's offering to let me cover Vienna, I just want things to be stable, right? I don't want anything to explode this year. Let's take, like, worst case, I walk into Vienna. Sure, we're fine,
Yeah.
right? So I wanted to stay solid, and I just went for a simple guess down here in Smyrna while not risking hardly anything. I think we technically risked Galicia taps Budapest and Romania supports Bulgaria to Serbia, I think was a line that they technically could have gone for. Um,
Yeah, that is
that's technically
possible.
a move they could have done, but
But then this
yeah,
gets kicked back out into Albania, right? And you've got like 4 armies around this point, which
yeah.
I
And
think
if they
this still would have bounced. Oh no, wait, yeah, they could have supported Constantinople in as well. So
yeah, if they're supporting Khan into Bulgaria like that, then I'm still getting Smyrna.
yes, yeah,
So it's like, even if they quote unquote crush, they're actually just trading Serbia for Smyrna, and like, you know what? I'm pretty content with getting Smyrna. So like their best case in my mind with these tactics were that they keep Smyrna. And like, okay, sure. I love it when their best case is to tread water.
yeah,
So because I'm getting Vienna out of this whole thing, right? Like, oh no. Yeah.
yes. I mean, your position improves even if the AI position doesn't improve, right?
Yeah.
But here it's improved substantially anyway because you get into
Yeah.
Smyrna.
And mine also improved significantly because I'm the one who's getting into Smyrna. It's just
Yep.
it's all upside, baby.
Everything's
Woo!
coming up Ezio.
Yeah,
And
we don't open it.
no intrusion into Piedmont. I mean, I mentioned it
Everything is
briefly.
coming up at you.
That's. I genuinely think it's correct play here for France to go to Piedmont and interfere.
Yeah.
Although I see why they're not. Maybe they don't want to bring your wrath on them, and they don't want to leave
Yeah.
themselves open to Germany, right?
Yeah. And it looks like they're trying to set up a convoy onto the British Main.
Yeah,
And so doing that while leaving Burgundy exposed with your army in Portugal is a tough time to do the sell, right? If you could like tell if you were convoying Portugal to Gascony type stuff, I could see this being more reasonable. Um, but if you're in Spain, it could be ugly if Germany steps.
yeah.
So I think it makes some sense.
I think I would have Paris do the bounce with Burgundy and just prepare to convoy Spain up. It does mean you don't get into Irish
Yeah,
Sea, which I guess is a
there's
big
borders.
downside.
Yeah, it slows you down a lot.
Yeah,
So I don't begrudge France not doing it. Plus, if we didn't have a good guess in the South, if we didn't get into Smyrna like this, the AI isn't actually improving tactically against the Juggernaut.
hmm
We're gonna stall out, and if the AI just stalls out, it doesn't matter that Italy's on 6 centers and Austria's on 3. Like, we're not making progress. France is going to be able to kill England and make a move on me later. So I think it's reasonable to slow things down. And I'm happy to not go after me. I think maybe they should go after me pretty soon, though, but maybe not. Going after Italy as France is always such a pain because you don't get anything except Tunis ever.
yeah. It would purely be for harassment, right? I don't think they should send the rest of their fleets against you. I really
Yep.
think it should just be the one unit prodding at you to make sure you're not doing this. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, very reasonable, honestly.
Honestly, as Italy, I would have been tempted here to just move Naples up to Apulia to just make sure that this doesn't happen. But maybe that's... this is so good for you.
This is so good.
Yeah.
Plus, I can still cover Venice from Trieste.
Yeah, that is true. You can move that
Now,
back.
Vienna can support Old Budapest.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume that at this point, Russia is thinking Galicia to Bohemia, Ukraine to Galicia. We didn't mention the West! Like, what is this? That complicates things even more.
Hell yeah.
So sometimes as Russia, you can play your two fronts completely separately, right? You can say, hey Germany, I'm gonna attack you in Scandinavia, but I'm not gonna build anything in Warsaw or move these units up north, and we can kind of keep our peace on this front. And often Germany will kind of just not move in on you on Warsaw because it takes too much commitment. They have too much of a fight going on this side, right? To open up this front anywhere other than Scandinavia. In this case, I don't know, like, the Scandinavia attack just doesn't work by itself. You don't have enough units here, because Germany is now in North Sea, so Sweden has to cover Norway, and Baltic just kind of gets isolated. You can try and YOLO it into Berlin, but Munich can cover that. So yeah. At this point, I think Russia kind of, if they're committing to this Germany attack, they have to piece you out and go Galicia in as well. And that's...
Yeah, and they could probably have done that while attacking Turkey, too, I want to point out.
Yeah, I think if they wanted to go for something like this, they had to take you up on the offer of getting the supply centers this turn. Because they won't have the option to if they move it away.
Yeah, although... Tactically, right, I was offering to support Galicia into Vienna. So they fundamentally, they needed to agree to work with me. And because I was willing to negotiate on like what the exact tactics were, but the fundamentals of I work with Russia against Austria and Turkey this phase is something that he could have agreed to, and he doesn't need to use Galicia necessarily. And like he could even have looped me in if he wanted me to like use Tiroli to help him support him in Munich and the fall type stuff. Crap, yeah. You're telling me you want to make another enemy? Like, yeah, I would have been super down for this to help him out. So, yeah, I was not kept in loop on a lot that Russia was choosing to do this phase. As I've mentioned, right, Russia's not been the highest activity presser this game. So, I'm happy to see it though. It looks great.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Germany messes with me. It means, hey, if Germany and Russia start fighting, Russia's all of his units down here can't stick around forever, so that's great. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, it just looks to me like everything's gonna collapse to you if this keeps going in this way. Which, that's a really... If you say that on a top board, it probably means that the opposite will happen, because people will see that happening, like a top board style thing, and go, this player is just gonna win if things keep going the way they are. I think things need to change. And so, part of me is going, how long do we have until someone says that and everything goes badly? But, another part of me is going, maybe you can just get powerful enough before that happens that it doesn't matter.
On the first note, let's go check the fall.
Okay, fall 1903.
How long does Ezio have?
Well, you have until backstab loads. There we go. Piedmont is happening.
Tyrolia is happening.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So
you can't keep getting away with it.
And I see...
did not in fact get away with it.
Oh god. Okay, so convoy into Livonia here, and Germany just gets a freebie convoy into Norway.
Yeah, trying to give France Belgium. While trying to leave Marseille open for a fleet build.
I see. And they do actually get that right, because England...
Red alert! Red alert! Yikes! Good news, I'm building 2. So it's not like I'm defenseless here. But also...
Yeah. This is problematic, to say the least.
I'm going to point out, I still haven't stabbed Austria.
Yeah, and Austria will still be working with you, I assume, right?
Yep. And
Yeah,
Turkey's down to 2 because we made good guesses.
that. I mean, it's so huge not stabbing Austria here as well, because it effectively means you can act, like, with the way this Austria has been playing, you can act as a much larger power than you currently are. And
There was a pretty big concession that we had to make here because we are two separate powers.
mhm,
We have to support Aegean into Bulgaria instead of having Aegean support Greece into Bulgaria.
yes.
Um, Tactically, it would be so much better if we could have the fleet in Aegean still be in Aegean. But if we did that, I'm already taking Vienna. And while we were trying to get me out of Vienna, we both recognized that probably wasn't going to happen. So it was important to put Austria on 3. So he had to be the one taking Bulgaria. And, we should have just taken from Serbia, honestly. But we didn't want to risk Serbia because we're dumb.
Uh,
Yeah, taking from
I
Serbia would have
mean,
been better.
it's kind of reasonable not wanting to risk Serbia.
They're never tapping Serbia, man. Are you kidding me? Look at the moves these people have been making for the past year. Ah,
They have been support holding a lot more than I would
doing any
generally
tapping.
expect for optimal tactics. Like, in a situation like this, you often want to find a where you have a lot of units packed on the front. You often want to find a more aggressive defense where you're tapping a lot of stuff, just because you have the units to be able to do that, right? And to support moves into the centers that are moving forward. That can just give you a little bit of an edge.
Yeah, so the tactics stuff that meme's talking about, you want to have Romania, for example, tap Serbia rather than support hold Bulgaria if you're trying to protect Bulgaria. This is because if Budapest taps Romania, then Romania's support hold on Bulgaria will not work.
mhm.
So that's less useful. So you would prefer to have Romania tap Serbia. A concern with this is if we tap Romania, Romania is not getting support held anymore, and so it's therefore at risk. You can mitigate that risk by supporting Sevastopol into Romania, because then you can Black Sea supports Sev into Romania while Sev moves to Romania. In this particular example, let's have Ukraine do it. Let's have Ukraine support Sevastopol into Romania in this world, because in this case, then like Black Sea can support hold Bulgaria anyways. So if you're trying to support hold Bulgaria, you can just use Black Sea. But you're trying to put whatever on Romania. Romania can still do the tap on Serbia while also being defended by strength 2 because you can't dislodge yourself.
Yep.
And so if we attack Romania, we put 2 on it. Romania holds. It's the beleaguered garrison rule, I think, is what it's called. But or is that with only other powers? Anyways, point is you can hold Romania. It's a slight tactical improvement, and I'd have to look more at the position here to confirm it. But like in this example, you probably don't need to have 2 units supporting Romania unless you expect Turkey is going to stab you here. So you probably don't need to do this. Like I wasn't expecting to get Bulgaria, honestly, guys. That's why I didn't really care that much about it. But then they didn't support it that much, and it was fine. And then Khan went for Smyrna instead, but I support held Smyrna because we crushed it. This was an example of where I couldn't do anything more active or cool because I would have risked Smyrna.
Yes.
Um, so
We'll
yeah.
say if you expected Aegean to get into Bulgaria, you would really want to backfill with Ionian here as well, right?
Yeah, but I'm worried about France.
Fair enough.
I don't want to
Yeah.
leave Tunis. I noticed that like Mid Atlantic Ocean supporting the move into English Channel right last turn. That's one of them alarm bell type moves that you look at and you're like, I am doing really well this game, aren't I? Is France going to attack me and move Mid Atlantic Ocean to Western Med and do something crazy? I'm not sure. So that was actually the reason why I didn't want to risk Ionian. Yes, it's much better tactically against Turkey, and here I wish I had because if the move had gone through, and France didn't move into Western Med, but here my like paranoia kicked in a little bit. And in my defense, I did smell a rat. I just didn't quite smell the right kind of rat.
Yeah. It makes sense. And yeah, I think maybe your biggest benefit here is England still being completely intact, right? And getting into English Channel. That is going to annoy France quite a lot. And I don't know whether France can really commit very much to going against you because England is still completely alive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Germany didn't take anything from England, right? Like England is alive and well. So yeah.
Aye. All right. Anything else to talk about here?
Part of my negotiations with France were, hey, don't build Fleet Marseille. Just don't do it. Let's not build Fleet Marseille. In exchange, I won't build Fleet Rome. Because when I look at this move into Piedmont, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna put down Fleet Rome, Army of Venice. I'm gonna move up into Tuscany, Tyrrhenian Sea. Like, let's just not. Please, for the love of God, let's be friends. Like, come on. You know what happens when France and Italy fight? Nobody does it well. It's just awful. It's terrible. So let's not do that. And then France was like, yeah, that sounds good. And then we can check the winter.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's a yeah, that sounds good build. Yep.
Yeah.
You built Army Rome.
I did build Army Rome. Because I was a man of my word. And I figure if I'm trying to work with France, let's be whatever, 7 army, 2 fleet Italy. That's a classic.
6 army, I think, but yeah, it's...
Oh, I'm only on 8? Sorry, 6 army. But yeah. My thinking behind this is somewhat rational. It's that if I am mostly contesting these Austrian dots in Serbia and Budapest, and that's long-term where I expect I'm going to be, I really need a bunch of armies to reinforce everything. I recognize that Turkey is dying pretty quickly, and I don't expect to need too many fleets in the area anymore. We've already gotten most of it done, so more fleets on the Turkish front don't really help. They are mostly useful against France, and I think France will recognize that. So me building fleets means it's long-term antagonistic towards France. If I build armies, it's more antagonistic towards Germany and Austria, really. But, like, Austria doesn't care. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I built the army in Rome. And we made a deal where I said I was going to do it. And I thought it was a good thing to do. But I made a deal, and then France broke it. Like a lying stabber who stabs.
How dare they do something like that in deployment?
I haven't stabbed hardly anyone this game. I have basically just been doing what I said. Right? Austria has literally asked me to do all of these things, and then negotiations just sort of broke down with Turkey and Russia, as sometimes these things happen. But again, Russia had told me that we weren't on the same page at any point in these phases, and so it's like, all right, I guess we're going to war.
Yeah.
And like, okay, great. And then we fought, and then I did tactics.
Aye. I'm just looking at the tactics here, and I'm wondering, do you take I think, because obviously the instinct with the attack coming in here and Fleet Marseille coming in is to pull fleets back, right? I think you have to, if you want to make sure you make any more gains at all on this front, you have to take a turn to convoy Greece into Syria before you back up with these fleets. Which is tough, because it means France will get into Tyrrhenian Sea if you want to move both the fleets back. But I don't think one army can actually break this line. I'm curious as to your thoughts.
So you want to convoy to Syria, and you want to put it in Armenia then? There? Yeah, that's exciting. That's interesting. I kind of like that.
I mean, it's possible I'm overcomplicating it, and actually what you need to do is just have Eastern Mediterranean go to Aegean and then attack this. But I think you don't get it right, because 1, 2, 3. Actually, genuinely.
If I can slip into Armenia while Eastern Med goes into Smyrna, right? I think things work out.
I don't know about that, because Smyrna is... Armenia would be alone, right? You can't have anything attack Ankara from there? Oh, if you mean you commit Ionium forward as well? Or are you rotating Bulgaria out to Aegean?
I think we rotate Bulgaria out to Aegean.
Okay, I could see that. The important thing is that you need Armenia, Smyrna, Aegean, Bulgaria in order to make progress here, and
you think that convoy in Greece is the simplest way to do that? Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, actually, if you are able to just back this fleet out, then that could work.
Yeah.
But if they cover Armenia with Sevastopol, you have issues as well.
Yeah.
And I think those issues only go away if you convoy the army over to Syria.
Yeah.
Because then you force them to make guesses between Constantinople or Armenia to stop you making any progress. But yeah, the important high-level thing of this is I think you have to keep more units committed to this front than my initial instinct. Like, my initial instinct is panic! Run back! Make sure Tyrrhenian is defended. But I think you have to make sure that you keep at least one of these fleets, possibly both of these fleets, committed to this cause for at least one turn. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so I'm still trying to get Russia to turn on Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's my goal here, because I'm still like, hey, I can stab Austria whenever, and I can like get a bunch of things. The original deal that I proposed to Russia isn't quite there because I'm in Vienna now. So like, okay, that's different. But like now we can go for one of the more classic where he gets Ankara, Khan, Bulgaria, and I get Budapest and Serbia.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's what I'm hoping for. But
Yeah,
I don't think that's likely.
I don't think it can happen anymore, right? Because the way Russia, especially with this Baltic disband, the way Russia has gone now just means their north is gone. Germany gets Sweden, Germany gets St. Pete. I mean, they can bounce St. Pete for one turn, but then Germany can use their control of the north to just take it later on anyway. What does Russia do once you guys take Turkey and Austria together? They don't really have a route, because prior to this, they had the ability to place a bunch of units in the north and try and force that, right? Well, you go this way. But I think that doesn't exist anymore. They just get stopped, so they have to attack you further. And yeah,
Fair. I will say if they're losing the north like that, and they're not getting any builds because they're obviously not making progress in the south, and they're just like disbanding too. And once they pack 2 units, their front explodes. So
yeah.
It's not looking great for Russia, anyways.
Agree.
And I don't think it's particularly likely that Russia works with me. So, yeah.
All right. Well, anything you want to talk about before we go through to the spring?
No, let's just check out the spring.
Okay, spring 1904. Man, well, that's a surprise.
Hell yes.
What did you say to make this happen?
Honestly, I have absolutely no idea. I just do not remember what I said. This is Retro Toaster, right? The answer is I say something to him to the extent of, you're obviously not going to get anything from me. You don't have a fleet in the Mid-Atlantic Ocean. I obviously have to cover, and I built 2, so you get nothing. So instead, pull your units back, put them where they can be useful, like against England, so you can get builds, and we can be friends. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Yeah, that's basically all that I'm saying to more or less everyone in this game, except for Turkey.
Yeah. This is an interesting strategy that France has taken, destroying the self-bounce so that they position themselves to take English Channel, I guess. It doesn't feel very effective, what they've done here. And it seems like they managed to negotiate their way into working with England, which is a good thing, because it means English Channel is not harassing you. If English Channel YOLOs into Mid-Atlantic Ocean here, you might have some issues. But yeah, France is not going to be able to accomplish a whole lot sending this back, I think. Not for a while. It feels like Germany is just getting all of the upsides in this alliance right now, right?
Yeah. Germany's doing really well here. I am not a fan because I can't really impact Germany very much, and like Germany's already getting Scandinavia for free. So seeing Germany also have good position against France, yikes.
Yeah, and even worse than that, he's leaving these Russian dots to Russia so that they can halt you, basically, and he can still take these whenever he wants.
Yep.
Ouch.
Isn't that annoying?
This is the kind of moment where you go, oh my god, board, Germany is gonna be really strong and probably gonna walk to a victory here, and then no one believes you because you've been the big threat all game so far. Or no one listens to you. I know!
It's so annoying! This is exactly what happens. This is gonna be the next long time of this game. So we're clear. Is me just screaming into the void that Germany is clearly setting them up and he is going to win this game and there is nothing anyone else can do to stop it.
Well,
And
no,
nobody gives
you can't
a
say that
rat's
there's
ass.
nothing anyone else can do to stop it, because if you say that, they go, oh, okay, well, there's nothing we can do. Let's just keep doing the current thing. You have to go, the only thing you can do to stop it is turn around now.
I think I phrased it in such a fashion that if you don't turn around, there's nothing anyone can do to stop it, and so whatever. Anyways, the
Mhm.
point is, these next few years of the game are just going to be me screaming into the void,
Okay.
um, and getting resounding silence. Except apparently, I got France to pull back.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, that's something. I can't imagine they agreed this with Germany, although Germany didn't do anything, right, with this.
yeah, no,
So,
Germany. They might have both tapped Venice, I think,
mhm.
or did Germany just
No,
hold?
Germany held
All
with
right. Well, I
Tyrolia.
mean, look, it was a joke.
Yeah, I assume France just went to Germany. I can't attack Italy right now. I need more fleets up here to deal with England. So yeah, and Germany just has to go. Yeah, okay. I guess we're pulling back off this attack because I can't really convince you to stick around. Right? There's nothing France is gaining off of this, and England is in
Yeah,
English shuttle and threatening Mid-Atlantic Ocean.
right. That's brutal.
Yeah, like I'm kind of amazed by how decent the English position is, they considering they got no builds and have been on the receiving end of this alliance.
Considering they're in England, who's been fighting against an FG for 3 years alone now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no Russian assistance, and Russia just took Norway off them in the first chance they got. In fact, they never got Norway in the first
they
place.
never got Norway, and Germany has been given Norway and now has direct access to Sweden and St. Petersburg.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
honestly the English guess last turn, taking English Channel while they were trying to convoy this over is huge. It's actually incredible because it's what's opened up all this. Forced them to put the
hell yeah.
fleet in Belgium, and that's just a really painful spot. Not as
Yeah.
painful as the spot that England is in, but
One of the
still
things that I am going to
painful.
point out is that if France had chosen to take England's support into North Sea, England's position starts looking remarkably solid. Um,
Yes.
And if France, because France was pretty sure that I was taking Tyrolia, like I think I told them as much. I might not have literally told them, but like if France walks into Picardy and Burgundy here, England's position's suddenly okay because it looks like France can actually hit Germany hard.
Yeah.
France didn't go with this and said he couldn't trust England, but I don't buy it at all.
I mean, well, if I'm France in this position and England is pitching me on an alliance, I say, okay, I'm supporting you into North Sea. Because I'm not taking this support. Like, this is. It pushes me too far forward for England gets the choice of who to work with beyond that point, and I think they go for me because they don't have a path forward into Germany anymore because I blocked them off
Yeah,
with my North Sea fleet, right?
that's a fair point, but also have you considered your France and England is offering to support you into the North Sea?
Look, it's. I mean, you're not wrong, but you are wrong. The
Hmm.
what you can't get too overconfident, even if you're France.
Hmm.
And I go,
Well,
look, England, I'll get out of your hair. If I push you forward into North Sea here, I'll move Irish Sea into English Channel, and then you're in a much better position, right? I'm out of your way, and you get
yeah,
to advance against Germany and Scandinavia. And suddenly
that's a solid
France's
pitch.
position just looks much better than it does if France takes this support, right?
Yeah, that's a solid pitch. Would you actually do it?
Uh, I mean,
Exactly.
it's no. I think I probably would, but solely because this is a top board situation, and I know that if this game goes to endgame with Germany sitting in Norway and Denmark and no Russian units here, I can't win, right?
Awesome. You know what? That makes me happy to hear because I was pushing for France and England to make up. England just wants to survive, and I think France needs to stab Germany at some point while England can still help if France wants to win.
Yes.
I also think France should have stayed in Piedmont to mess with me, but
Yeah.
if I'm helping him against Germany, that's fine. Because Piedmont going back, right, you are going to be tight for armies in the area if you're attacking Germany. So I think that's reasonable even. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I assume from what you've said that really we'll just be looking at tactical analysis for the next few years, and not much of the negotiations will have an effect from your perspective, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so tactically down here, you lose Bulgaria and gain Galicia, which I think is bad for you, right? Because you can't backfill. Fine. If you backfill Budapest, you're killing Austria. Maybe you do just want to kill Austria at this point.
Who cares?
Yeah, and you have a brief window while France and Germany are off your back. Actually, yeah, that does make sense. Just replace your Austria's units with yours. But you're not making actual progress, right? I really don't think you're going to push through this.
There is a tactical thing that I think you might have missed. Let's double check Bulgaria, shall we?
Okay. So Bulgaria has... Wait, hang on. So Constantinople is defended, right? Ankara supports Con. Then Black Sea supports Bulgaria. You've got 3 on there. They can tap from Romania. So you have to go in with Serbia if you're doing it that way. And you can tap Con. Okay, so you can guarantee Bulgaria.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
And it only risks me taking Budapest and Serbia. How sad. What a risk.
Oh, and you are absolutely going to risk that, I assume.
Man, it would be so unfortunate if I just walk into Budapest and Serbia this turn and we take Bulgaria.
Yeah, without stabbing Austria still.
Without stabbing Austria. God, it would just be the most unfortunate tactical situation to happen.
Shall we move forward to the fall?
Yeah, let's move to the fall. We go for it. We get Bulgaria. Sadly, they do tap Serbia, so I get bounced out. Oh well.
You still get 1 dot out of this. And Austria has 2 left, right? Yes. No, Austria has these 2 left, and then 2 units. Yes. So they stay on 3, the front line. Right? Oh yeah, Galicia. I assume Galicia has to come off, right? No, they could take Aegean off and hope that you backfill, but you're not... I don't know. It's really tough to find a way to crack Turkey here.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you've made it into Western Med.
Yeah.
I assume your whole "we should leave each other alone" here didn't last for very long, or were you just super paranoid that they'd come in here?
I was kind of paranoid they would come in, and I'm okay being in Western Med. I don't have anything else. I didn't move into Piedmont. I'm probably not going to attack France, but France has shown me that they're willing to mess with me. So who knows? Maybe I'll mess with him. But maybe I'll help out. Maybe he'll ask me to cover Mid-Atlantic Ocean at some point. You know?
Yeah. I'm sure you'd only have innocent intentions for doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, genuinely, you want him to attack Germany, so I think...
I have his back right now.
Yeah, but I do think if you want him to attack Germany, you need goodwill, so you hold this. For them to attack Germany, yeah. I understand why you do this, right? Just in case, but I don't think France is going to be very happy.
I don't think he was very happy with me.
Who would have guessed? I'm very sad to see England lose a centre finally in the north. But still...
He lost it to the convoy from Norway, so Germany can't even walk into St. Petersburg anymore. So Russia's going to feel good about letting him take St. Petersburg in the future. It's oh my god.
It's really good top board play, right?
Just the worst.
Germany is keeping goodwill with everyone while taking centers.
All into the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh Alright, and yeah, you are killing the only person who had goodwill with you.
In my defense, he is asking me to kill him.
Yes, that is true.
So Austria is not the one that I'm burning goodwill with.
Alright. So anything else to talk about here, or shall we go through to the winter?
I think we can go to the winter.
Okay, winter 04. Right, so, Fleet Liverpool off the board, Fleet Aegean comes off. Interesting. And you've got no fleet to back that up. I guess you have to move Eastern Mediterranean up. Technically, Smyrna isn't a threat, so that should be fine. But I have a really hard time seeing how you're cracking this line. Alright, and Army Berlin.
Me too, buddy.
Alright, so power rankings turn. Shall I go ahead and do this real quick?
Yeah, let's see.
Alright, so Austria is still at the bottom, I think. They are very likely to die, even with England being very close to death. I think England is slightly higher because the enemies aren't optimally positioned to kill them in a year. They probably hold London, whereas Austria's position dictates that you have to cover Serbia for them now, which, if they're surviving, it's in Bulgaria. These two are very close anyway. So, I think I'm going to swap you and Germany now, despite the center counts. So,
Sag.
It's tough because obviously 9 to 7 and you have the 2 in pocket, but Germany also has the 2 in pocket, and Germany has these things that I think you're missing called friends.
Hey, I've got a friend. He's just a 2-center friend.
Yes, and Germany has a 6-center friend and another 6-center friend. You nearly had a 6-center friend. They went the other way and were happy with you, and then you went here, so...
We'll still be friends afterwards. It'll be fine. Surely.
Right. So I think Germany has the best shot of winning this game right now. I think you are very clearly in second place, and I think the two of you are like a fair bit above anyone else in terms of chance of winning this game now. Obviously, Turkey stays close to the bottom, but they're much more likely to survive this than Austria or England is because of their defensive position.
Turkey.
Russia and France. I think because Russia has these 2 centers that are gonna get donated to Germany, I don't know, Germany's demilitarized that area now. So
but Germany can take it whenever he wants.
Yeah, if Russia could find an opening where they suddenly get to build St. Petersburg and Moscow and re-enter this area, while Germany isn't looking, then they could make something happen. But, what's the likelihood of that? They're not gaining anything down here. If they take your support into, Constantinople and Ankara, they could do that, but then you'll just come in and boot them out again. I think they don't have much of a chance. And France, I mean, they've got very little pressure on them, and they're not actively donating centers to anyone. So, I think France goes above Russia. I think this is a good power rankings board. Alright.
Do not disagree.
Yeah. So, shall we go through to the spring? Anything you want to talk about before we go there?
Let's just go to the spring. Let's see how things go.
Oh, I am curious why you didn't build another fleet here. Because this does feel like a bit too army heavy at this point. You got 2 fleets as Italy.
You don't have the classic 7-army 2-fleet split, man.
You're a 9-center Italy with 2 fleets. What is this?
What's my 10th center going to be, CaptainMeme?
Serbia.
That sounds like an inland center to me.
Yeah, that is true.
What centers am I at risk of losing right now, CaptainMeme?
Probably these ones.
Vienna and Budapest.
Yeah, I mean, they're in
I guess I need more armies.
But surely at some point you're gonna get hit from here, right? Not like...
Well, good news. I have a fleet sitting in Western Med. It's really hard for France to actually attack me if I just have a fleet in Western Med forever.
That is true, and France only has 3 fleets, and one of them is in Belgium, which isn't very conducive to attacking you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Alright, let's go to the spring then.
Yeah. all Italy should build 7 armies before they build their 3rd fleet.
I do not endorse this message.
Yeah.
Alright, so, spring 1905. Austrian army off the board here, which is sad.
The first miscast of the game, and it's brutal.
Mm-hmm.
If only we'd had Bulgaria support Galicia into Romania.
Yeah.
If only.
That's a tough one, because you're guessing between Constantinople tapping this, right?
But yeah, Constantinople tapping Bulgaria, right? Yeah, that's the guess. Yep.
Yeah. Germany coming back in. France is not coming back in, so that's a good thing for you.
I'm confident I told France that I was tapping Mid-Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
He knew about this. This is not a step.
And you didn't tell France that you were convoying Spain to Tunis.
We're talking about it.
Well, genuinely?
Genuinely. We're talking about convoying Spain to Tunis.
Okay.
Because Germany's the threat here.
Yep.
Germany's going to win this game. He's got Russian in his pocket. How is France going to win this game? I'm telling France, dude, you got to work with England. For the love of God. If I see you work with England, shit, I might even give you Tunis.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that's where we're at. Because I need a friend, Captain Meme.
Yep.
We've established I don't have any friends.
Yep. I mean, you have one who is now down to 1 unit.
Yeah.
God. This is also quite painful to see. Like, as Italy in this position, you certainly want to see a French convoy onto the UK mainland so that they have something to oppose the Germans there, right? And this is doubly painful because you're now seeing, okay, Germany now has power over Liverpool, and London.
Yeah. Notably, if Germany and I both decide to start working together, we can, like, crush France really quickly.
Were you considering that? That feels...
Absolutely, yes. I would love to help Germany attack France right now.
Yeah, actually, that probably is correct, but I'm sure one of you doesn't take that offer, right?
Yeah,
for one of you, it's wrong.
Germany thinks that his best way is to have people throw to him at the end of the game.
And he's correct,
yeah, I'm not gonna be bigger than you, but they're gonna like me more than you, and they're gonna choose to give me their dots instead of choosing to give you dots. And so they're just gonna throw to me.
Yeah, I mean...
Meanwhile, of course, he's telling me, oh, this game's hopeless, and we're all gonna lose, and there's no chance for anyone to win, is what he's saying. And it's just the most frustrating thing to read, because you know he's full of shit. But what are you gonna say, right?
Yeah, but he's not going to give you ammunition, right? He's not going to go, oh, my plan is to win at the very end, because then you go and post that to France and Russia and go, look, this guy's just using
I already
you.
told them that, by the way.
Well, yeah, but it's more... It's, like, more believable if you have copy-pasted press to send them. Right?
Yeah, I gotta get better at forging copy-paste press, but I really don't know how to do that, unfortunately.
So the key to copy-pasting press, I don't do this very much anymore, because honestly it just feels like a weird tactic to use, and it's too high effort for me now. But the trick to it is go and find a message from earlier in the game from them that says something roughly similar to what you want them to be saying to you, right? So if they were talking about attacking Russia or something at an earlier stage in the game, then you modify that slightly just to change it to be about the current situation, and you post that. It works most of the time. With the fact that you can change who it's about, right, by changing the name of the powers, and change what year it's about, and the slight tactics and whatnot, just if they were sending you tactical information, just swap that out for whatever the tactics of the current thing are. Genuinely, it works like a charm. So, that would be my recommendation on that front.
I'm glad.
Alright.
If me ever sends you copy-pasted press, guys, and you believe that baloney.
Oh, it also really helps if... So, this was when I used to do... I remember one specific game on V-Diplomacy that I did this in forever ago, where I did that exact message, right? I copy-pasted something similar that someone had sent me from earlier in the game, and I changed it because it was supposed to be, hey, this guy is inviting me to a coalition against you, right? And has sent this message to multiple people. So it was a boilerplate template. And I left the name to be the other person that I said he was inviting to the coalition. So I think I was like, because we were playing in Gnome World 901, I was like, Axum.
Yeah, of countries here. Sorry. I'm losing. There's too many proper nouns here, or pronouns, whatever. I'm losing countries we're talking about. And let's try to use the standard diplomacy words. So, like, in this example, you were Turkey, and, like, Austria sent you a boilerplate something?
So, I was Turkey. I was trying to convince Austria that Italy is sending me and Russia a boilerplate template saying, hey, we should go against Austria, right?
Sure.
And so I find something roughly similar that Italy has sent me earlier in the game. I then change that to apply to the current circumstances, and I change the header to say, hi, Russia. I'm inviting you and Turkey to the current alliance. And then I add a little bit at the end saying, oh, and then he sent me another message saying, oops, I forgot to change this, but it applies to you as well. So just That's inserting a slight deliberate mistake to make it seem a little more realistic actually works really well.
Yeah.
Anyway, now you know that if I ever send you something with a slight mistake, it's also still probably fake.
Just don't believe when name leaks press to you guys. I am so honest. When I leak press to you, it's like actually real. Me brags about lying about press all the time. I don't do that. I'm way too honest for my own good. I say I need to lie more in diplomacy. It's one of my big weaknesses.
Okay, I should say this was back in the day. I don't lie to anyone anymore.
Yeah, no
a long
more.
time ago.
Yep, Meme hasn't lied in ages. Yep.
Yeah, I'm reformed. I don't do this stuff.
All right, let's go to the fall of this one so we can stop patting ourselves on the back about how honest we are. And look at that. Look at me. Look at Spain, everybody. Look at how good of an ally I am.
My God.
Really? And this motherfucker moves into Piedmont anyways. This son of a bitch. I can't fucking believe it. It's unbelievable. Who does he think he is, accepting my convoy into Tunis to go +2 because he's keeping Liverpool? He's going to build 2 fleets, isn't he? He's going to put a fleet down in Marseille after accepting my convoy into my own goddamn center. Oh, I'm going to kill him. Oh, I'm so pissed.
Oh my God.
I'm leaving for vacation. By the way, I'm in Colorado at this point in time. I'm skiing, and I see these moves come in this turn. I am pissed for the rest of the day. I cannot contain myself. I have not been so angry about some bullshit. Because why the fuck did I convoy him into Tunis anyways? What am I doing?
I mean, I agree. No, I actually kind of respect the convoy into Tunis. I think it's more important for you to get a friend going into this endgame than it is for you to have the strongest possible position going into the endgame, right? If France and Russia are both pro-Germany in the endgame, you've lost this game. Doesn't matter what you do. So doing this to gain some goodwill is a good thing, but, like... I agree with you completely that he is just gonna come in and kill you now.
Remember when I said that France was +2? That was not including the convoy to Tunis. France goes +3 here.
Ooh.
And even though I gained Serbia, I'm losing Vienna. So guess what? I go down 1 because I convoyed the guy who was going +2 to go +3 instead.
Oh my God. I mean, on the plus side, one of those builds has to be in Paris unless he waves, right?
Yes.
Which then means...
He can't actually build 3 fleets this turn, yeah.
Yeah,
that's my saving
and
grace.
I think locking him into building an army is actually a really good thing right now, because it means there'll be more here to attack Germany. Although, notably, he would still have had that army here if you didn't put it in Tunis.
Yeah. But it's the first time that everyone on the board can see that I made a deal with someone and I stuck to it. Because I think a lot of people looked at what was happening with Austria and assumed that I was just like lying to Austria and bullshitting them the whole game and just like kept getting into better positions because whatever. But nah, dude, I was sticking to my end of deals. But yeah, France can see. I want to work with him, man. I'm ready to work with him. And then it's the goddamn people. I'm so pissed. Oh god. Yeah, reliving that experience, that memory hurts. That said, I do understand why I did it. Because if I expect Germany to attack France here, it's really bad. Because Germany is set up to take Liverpool and take Belgium.
Yep.
This phase. And if Germany doesn't help France into London, then France loses Liverpool. Like, if it doesn't get Liverpool, loses Belgium, so isn't building, and is just in terrible shape. And I think there's a very solid chance that Germany goes for that play, because that means that Germany's locked in with Russia as the one who's weak and wants to help me win. So it's like Germany still has a huge friend who's weak, and also just locks in his really strong position against France.
Yep.
So I think it was a very likely stab, and I really wanted France to not be too weak after this. Like, I don't want him to go down to 4 or whatever, 4 or 5. I want to see him still on 6. So I think that's important.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. This it would have been completely reasonable if Germany had gone into these.
Yeah, instead it just looks like I'm a dumbass who. Oh god.
Well.
Yeah.
Anything more you want to talk about here, or do you want to go through to the winter?
If anyone asks me to convoy their units into my centers again, I'm not going to do it. And by the way, I'm releasing this after the most recent phase in 7 Days of Chaos.
We'll get to that in a commentary at some point. I imagine that will go on for a while longer. Yeah. All right.
Hopefully maybe we can do the commentary by next week, eh?
No. All right. Let's go through to winter 1905.
Yeah. And I'm not building for the first time this game.
Yeah. And you aren't disbanding because
something got popped. I think Vienna got popped.
Yeah, Vienna got popped, and the other center that came from your alliance was Austria's, right? Which came off with the Galicia pop.
Which came off earlier. Oh yeah, this was not good for the good guys. One other thing that I do want to point out that I did offer this phase, I did support, I think, Black Sea into Ankara. With Smyrna. I think that was Black Sea.
Yes.
Because I'm still talking to Russia. Hey Russia, let's stab Italy. We can kill Italy and Austria, and then we can move west. Let's do
Turkey and Austria. Yeah.
That one. Then... All right, yeah, we can kill Turkey and Austria, and then we can move west.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just do the thing.
Yeah. But Russia does not take it, and now France gets the 2 fleet bills.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to say goodbye to England. It was a valiant fight to keep those centers, but they do end up going down this phase, so they are out. Yeah. Go ahead and move these 2 here. Right. So, anything more you want to talk about in winter, or shall we just advance?
Let's just go to the spring.
Okay. Spring 1906. Oh my god!
Sometimes generating goodwill actually does a thing. And sometimes you can trust someone after you've done something that was completely unreasonable to help them. And they lied to you, because France did lie to me for the entire previous phase. He was saying, "Oh my god, I am going to lose stuff to Germany. Things are really terrible. I need this dot. I need it. I'm not going to attack you." And I think he felt a little bad about it. I don't think he expected me to convoy him into Tunis. Because for most of the phase, I was kind of like, dude, what you're asking is absurd. There's no way I can do that. And then with like 2 hours left in the phase, I was like, you know what? I've looked at this position. I actually think it's important for you to get Tunis here. It's really bad if Germany crushes you like this.
Yeah.
So I think he was kind of, yeah.
You're also Ezio, Like, who would expect Ezio to convoy them into his own center?
You gotta do what you gotta do, man. like that's just how this is gonna happen. I mean,
yeah. Genuinely, it's worked out incredibly well with these supports up. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I gave one center away to France that France gave back to me.
Yeah.
He said, sure, you can have it back. And it got him to not attack me at all. And because I had such good feelings about the press, I did not defend even a little bit.
I see that, yeah. And you managed to blow up Germany's unit because of that. That's insane.
Hell yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, I thought I was losing Budapest, right? So I'm like, let me get the most out of it. I thought that Russia was still attacking me, but by press with Russia this phase, Russia was also offering to work with me. And he's like, yeah, if you support me in Ankara, I'll take that.
And you just didn't believe him because of the...
I did not believe him a little bit. Have you seen what the game has looked like between me and Russia?
Yeah, that's fair.
I've been offering to support him into Turkish and Austrian dots for the entire game, and he's just been saying no forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not even sure if he said yes. What phase is this? I'm gonna go check. This is
spring 1906. Yeah.
Let me see what the press looked like in spring of 1906.
I assume some of these people you were talking with on Backstabber and some on Discord, right? Because of the...
Yes, this one, Russia is all on Backstabber.
Yes, my kind of guy. Keep press on Backstabber and stop interfering with people's Discord messages.
Okay, actually, he did confirm. He said, look, your moves in 1905 were good to me. If you agree to give me Bulgaria, Constantinople, and Ankara, all of the remaining dots belonging to Austria and Turkey, I'll agree to work with you to help, I'll work with you against Germany. Mm-hmm. And I say, all right, sounds good to me. I've already agreed to give you all those centers. I'm once again asking to support you into Ankara. And then Russia says, yes, I'll take your support. To confirm, I'm going to be moving into Ankh and Bull. This is a good time to get it done. And then that one was very near the end of the phase, and then I say, we're not good at being on the same page here. This is in the retreats of spring of 06. I thought you were bullshitting me again.
Yeah. Man, I think looking at this, you really wanted to do that, right? Because Germany stabs Russia at the same time. And if that happens...
It was really bad!
Yeah.
But I had only so much trust, man. Like, my trust meter is really small. It's like about a teacup of trust, and I spent it all on France this turn. Could you imagine if I also, in the East, support Russia into centers, and then Russia doesn't take it while France moves into Venice here?
Yeah, that's fair.
There's only so much trust a man can have, but I regret this.
I also assume that he didn't tell you about this, right? Armenia.
About Armenia? He did not.
Mm-hmm.
He did not. So if he had done, like, here's the thing, where even if he'd done what he said he was going to do and just goes to Ankara, then I end up in Armenia and Smyrna, and it's fine that he lied to me, whatever, I'm still in a good shape. But if he doesn't lie to me, like, if he is telling the truth, my position is still fine. But here, yeah, I wish I'd supported him into Bulgaria. He would have left Galicia. I would have had 2 friends. I would have gained a dot. Germany would be the boogeyman on the board, and Turkey would be dead. And, like, maybe I can actually get somewhere.
I mean, notably, Germany would have been able to retreat to Galicia in that case, so it's not all perfect, but...
But I'm fine if Germany's in Galicia. That's anti-Russian, man. He's going to be in Silesia and Galicia? Like, he's going to go for Warsaw.
He guarantees Warsaw, right? Or he gets one of
Warsaw or St. Petersburg, yeah. But that's great. Then Germany and Russia are fighting. Mm. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely already fighting. I mean, like, look at this. The only way in which they don't fight here, I think, is if Russia goes, you know what, screw you for not doing this support. I'm just going to let him take them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually taking it from the, that was what happened.
It's not actually. Russia's like, you know what? That's fine. I get it. We've had a rough time. I'll still go for these in the fall.
Mm-hmm. And then
I'll
you
still do it.
support it. Yes.
We should check the fall.
Oh my
because
god.
this is actually my biggest regret in the game.
Oh, you still don't? No, Ezio, why? You don't. And France moves back against you. Oh no!
What am I doing, CaptainMeme? Why? Why?
Oh,
This was so bad.
so genuinely, I think this can be the turn that wins you the game, right? If you get Russia solidly on side against Germany.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's done. Why? What am I doing? But dude, I get Bulgaria. Constantinople's been broken. I'm still in Aegean. I'm in Budapest and Vienna. Germany, if he keeps pushing, he's gonna everything is gonna fall. Russia's gonna explode, and I'm gonna get everything. And then I'm going up to whatever 11 centers here or something. This is huge.
Yeah.
I'm unstoppable. But instead, I
mean, you do go +2 here, and now you're fighting the entire world, right?
Plus 3 actually, but yeah.
+3? Oh yeah, Tunis as well. This is another reason to convoy people into your own dots. When you get them back, you get to go up extra units.
Yeah. But no, yeah. I should have not done this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I just should have given Russia some thoughts. My concern was that if I just put Russia in Ankara and Bulgaria, Russia builds 2, puts down a fleet Sev, army Warsaw, and pieces out with Germany anyways.
It could happen, yeah. Especially given that Germany is backing away on this front and fighting with France, right?
And given how much trust Russia and Germany have had this game, given how tight the relationship has been throughout, I am incredibly worried that this is all just a ruse to fool me. Mm-hmm. And that this move was, right, he didn't go for St. Petersburg, he didn't go for Warsaw, I see that they were covered, so it's fine. But if this was all just an elaborate ruse to get me to give Russia some centers that he's not otherwise entitled to, I would be screwed. Yeah. I don't think that's the case. I think if I prop up Russia here, I think the game doesn't end. And instead Russia's like, all right, well, I'm going to throw it at Germany now. And oh, yeah. France is in Western Med now.
Yep. Yeah. And they have an army in North Africa. I wonder how that goes.
Yeah, and they're in Piedmont too. My god.
But you do get triple builds. And maybe you're going to finally sort your fleet army balance out.
I don't anticipate building 3 armies here, that's true.
Yeah. But all of your potential gains are in land, Ezio.
I think the center that I'm losing is Tunis.
Yes, I would agree with that. But you can't save Tunis, right? You're too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need Aegean to Ionian here. But then you don't get Bulgaria, so... you would have been able to go Aegean to Ionian if you'd supported Russia in.
Yes.
Genuinely,
this was not my finest moment.
Yeah, genuinely though, I completely understand why you were concerned about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paranoia, man. That's terrible things to him, man.
Shall we go through to the winter then?
Yeah. Oh god, this is the saddest I've ever felt when going +3. Literally ever.
Yep, I can see that. Double fleets, you've now become a more standard Italy, although I think you're still a little army heavy compared to where a normal Italy would be.
I'm still 7 armies, 4 fleets.
Yeah.
But I'm again, if you remember that I am both Italy and Austria in this game, it certainly makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because Austria would usually have very few fleets.
Yeah, it's usually on 0 or 1 fleets, and if you look at all the centers that we have, I think we're still a little army light.
Yeah.
But it's just all on Italy, which is abnormal. But since I'm trying to hold Vienna and Budapest and Serbia just like Austria does, yeah, I think I need a lot more armies. Anyways,
Yeah.
God, I'm losing Tunis. This sucks.
We see St. Petersburg off. This is a super interesting disband to me. Fleet Mid-Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
Oh, sorry,
middle
do I
of the
not
road.
have the cursor on? There we go.
Oh, sorry, my bad. But yeah, Mid-Atlantic Ocean disband is a good one. It's like middle of the road. It's semi-pro me because it's not Western Med. So it's like he's still getting Tunis, but also he's keeping fleets in the north to defend England.
Yeah, it's such a tough balancing act here for France, I think. Because this whole thing reads to me like a France who really wants to compete for that top spot still, but has ended up in a situation where, in order to do that, they have to either fight two much larger powers, in which case they're not going to win, or try and balance those two larger powers in some way, which takes all of their units, so where are they going to get their builds from? It feels like a pretty difficult situation to navigate, but they're definitely trying. Yeah, this goes to show that. As France, honestly, I would probably have gone to you during the build phase and say, hey, I'm going to take Tunis, but nothing further. Please don't build two fleets. But then you probably build two fleets anyway, right?
Because the last time he told me that he were going to do something in builds in exchange for me not building a fleet, he lied to me and didn't do that anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
There was nothing he could do to stop me from building two fleets. I was considering a third. I was considering the classic fleet Venice. Just to say, you know what, screw this. I'm going to go play this the way the Italy's do and get into Golflina. I didn't do that because I'm not insane, but...
You know things have gotten desperate when someone in Italy is building Fleet Venice. That only happens if they have nowhere else to build fleets available, either because they're building all the other fleets already, or because they've lost Rome and Naples.
Obviously, that's not the case here. I think the army is better. I'm just going to support into Piedmont, where it's going to be useful immediately. But I was ready for the third fleet. I was like, screw this. Anyways... It was such a rough feeling in the winter, because I recognized I've just screwed the pooch here. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Well, the answer is like force Romania, right? Like, that's what I'm doing.
Yep. So, notably here, this is a power rankings turn, right? I'm gonna go ahead and put France a bit higher up than Russia here, because I think Russia has no path to win. They might have had a path if you had given them those supports, but even then I think you end up... Russia can't really effectively fight back here, they can only defend. Austria and Turkey, I mean, they're pretty interchangeable at this point. I would put Turkey above Austria just because I think Russia will probably prop them up, where you will probably kill Austria when you want the center. And then between you and Germany, see... It is actually interesting because France looks like they're going to fight you both, right? And France can actually present something of a threat to Germany, especially if they tie down a bunch of units on this line and you suddenly hit them from the south. But the fact that Germany has... I mean, this Army St. Pete coming off and what you've described about the press makes me think that Russia is just going to hold this line down here. And in that case, I think I have to put Germany above you, right?
Despite me having 3 centers more.
Yeah, that is...
We're at 1906, and I have 11 centers. The next highest is at 8, but I still feel terrible about things, because I suck.
Well, actually, no, now you point out that Germany has 3 fewer centers. The centers that they could potentially get donated, St. Petersburg, Moscow, Warsaw, right? That brings them even. So, and you probably get a donated Constantinople if you can manage to push in. So as long as you don't... I guess you're losing Tunis. Man, maybe you are still in first. Even with a Russia throwing against you, that would be kind of insane.
It's a really, really strong position that I'm in.
Yeah. This is...
Like, 11 centers is a lot of centers.
I think I'm going to swap them over. I think I've talked myself into it. You're going above
let's
Germany.
Go. Yes.
But I'm not confident about that. I think you two are pretty
really
similar.
close.
It is very, very
really close. And I don't love it. And France can basically choose, in my opinion. If
Yes.
France wants one of us to win, that player will win.
I do agree there. I think my current rating is reliant upon France fighting both of you.
Yep.
And if France just stops fighting one of you, that person goes like, even if it's not if it's not like them allying with that person, if it's just them stopping fighting that person gets a huge advantage.
Yeah. Would you say this is a good time then to attack France as Italy?
I would say no.
Let's go to the spring of '07,
Oh
shall we?
no, it's you, no. I mean, honestly, this doesn't look like an attack to me. This looks like you playing
Making good
defensively.
defensive moves.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you look at that this way.
Oh no.
That makes me very happy because that's how I felt. This man's in Piedmont, dude. What do you want from me? Of course, I want to fight for Piedmont back. But my good news is that Germany made much more aggressive moves against France here with the convoy to Eddie, and that's
they're guaranteed Liverpool now, right?
Yeah, because now into now. Yep. So I'm like, look, dude. I told you Germany was going to stab you, man. And you didn't believe me because I was telling him Germany was going to stab him every face for the entire game. It's man, boy who cried wolf, right? Nobody gives a crap. There was one huge sadness from my end on this turn. Austria and Amart.
Ooh, oh, they would have gotten anchor. Oh
no! We had it. We broke them.
Oh. I guess that's the other problem with not being one power.
This hurt. This hurt me so badly because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm guaranteed to get stuff. Like, I'm gonna be in Romania. Things are great, and then we would have gotten Ankara too, and Turkey's done. And then I have a fleet in Constantinople. I can tap Black Sea, get Bulgaria back, pop everything. It's all over. But instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eesh.
Yeah. This NMR hurts my soul. Because we're talking about centers, right? And like, oh yeah, if Germany gets the 3 centers that we expect Germany to get, that ties Germany with me. I got Romania out of this, sure, but I'm losing Tunis, so we're still kind of tied. Germany is also going to get Liverpool out of this deal now. And so I need more centers. I need every dot I can get here. And Ankara is important. That's an extra dot. I'm getting Khan technically, but Ankara is in the alliance, and so like we were assuming I was going to get Khan previously. Now we assume I'm going to get Ank. We're going to get this fleet off the board. It's so big, but Austria and Mars, and we don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I should congratulate you here in a sense because earlier in the game I did not see any way you were ever getting into this line of dots, right? And you managed to break that mainly by stabbing Russia when they broke and decided to attack in. But yeah, you would have gotten absolutely everything around here. That's kind of amazing. I lose
Bulgaria, but I can recapture it. I think I would lose Romania as well, but like it would have been fine. But the point is, we also would have gotten Ankara. And then you would have everything in Turkey, and it's a very different world when Black Sea is getting tapped every phase versus when Black Sea is free to support and tap as it chooses. It would have been. It's such a big deal. I can't stress that enough. Thankfully, I can keep supporting Khan into Ank, and Black Sea has to support it now that Armenia moved back to Sevastopol. So it's not the literal end of the world, but it's still a big deal, and I'm very, very sad about this one.
Yeah, man, imagine if that move had happened and you'd ordered Serbia support hold Bulgaria and Romania gets popped off the board.
That would have been super clean, yeah. But I wasn't gonna risk it. Like,
yeah,
I just wanted to force Romania.
There's points in diplomacy where you want to take guesses, and there's points where you just go for the move that is guaranteed to work, right? Because that's, even if it's slightly worse, not taking the risk is important.
This was Russia's best defense against it, was forcing Bulgaria while I still get into Romania, and my position is still quite good.
Yes.
So and if Russia does anything else with Black Sea, like support holding Ankara, for example, things just go much better for me. So, yeah. I don't know. I was happy with this. But that NMR hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
Germany stopped France here, so maybe France is on side anyways. Maybe we're golden.
Yeah. Should we move to the next phase?
Yeah, let's see the fall.
All right. Full 1906. Oh my god. No. Well, Germany didn't take Liverpool or St. Petersburg. Germany is going for diplomatic victory, I see.
Yeah,
And I think it's gonna work. Like, look at the moves.
I'm a joke. I've had a vassal, Austria, since so on, and I'm gonna lose this game.
Mm,
Uh,
it's so painful. No.
uh,
Did Austria NMR this again? You just decided I'm gonna kill him now?
I can't. If I can't trust him to make the move into Ankara, I can't keep him around.
Mm. Ouch.
Yeah,
Man. That's so
yeah.
sad. Ah. So,
Austria could have been alive.
yeah, this is like really good top board play on Germany's part, right? This is negotiation based. The fact that they managed to convince France that they weren't going for Liverpool, and then
Yeah,
get them back on side. Now it's the world against Ezio, and regardless of how good your position is, you can't beat the world. That's just not
yeah.
happening.
And then Munich retreats into Bohemia, not even Berlin.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
God.
yeah.
Uh,
I somehow managed to lose this game, man. Like it was, I don't know, it's absurd.
um,
Yeah, let's go to winter, I guess. I'm not building anything. I don't think I don't have anything popped, right? Um,
no.
yeah,
You popped the Austrian unit, but then I
Austrian
guess you
unit.
lost. You
But yeah,
lost
because I lost
units. Yeah.
units, I didn't actually get anywhere.
Okay. And Army Sevastopol build. God.
Yeah, because
I
you
mean,
didn't lose St. Petersburg.
I assume you play this out, right? But you have to, because like your position is at a point where if you can flip anyone, you probably win.
Yeah,
But how do you
who's gonna
flip them?
flip? Yeah,
You gotta really convincingly make the case that you deserve to win this game, or that someone should let you win. And I don't know what you say. Like that's not a. It,
that's not a pitch that I can ever make.
I
I don't know
wasn't
how
gonna
to make
say
the
that.
pitch that I deserve to win this game. My pitch is no, I'm the strongest on this board, and you guys can't stop me.
See, I
Get stuffed.
diplomatically, I've been in positions where I've been able to successfully pitch that before, but it's always based off of I've been working solidly with you for a while, or this person has wronged you more than I had. And looking at what this Germany has just done and what you've done during the game, I don't think you can make that case. Like, you can probably make it to France, because Germany did attack them, but that was after France turned around on them, right? And clearly Germany's managed to piece them out now, managed to make them feel good about themselves, and they're coming your way. I don't know how you counter that. It's just I'm curious how you tried, but
He didn't make any of those pitches. I'm pitching France to say if you want a chance to win this game, you need to attack Germany
but if France
because you're
wants,
not going to get anything from me.
yeah, but I feel like that's obvious anyway, right? France isn't. This line is unbreakable, and I guess the northern line is also unbreakable. So maybe they just decided, hey, in order for me to get anywhere, I need to convince Germany to back off here, and that's I only do that by going south. But leaving Belgium, London, Liverpool open, just you can't win if you do that, right?
That's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but anyways, this was the pitch that I made to France because that's how I pitch to people, right? If you're trying to win the game, I can make deals with you. Once you've said I'm not trying to win this game, my brain stops functioning. I don't know how to talk to them anymore. I don't understand.
Did France say that to you?
No,
I
France is
mean,
still saying and claiming they're trying to win this game.
notably, France is ahead of Germany still.
Exactly.
But only in theory, because obviously Russia's centers are technically German right now. Or at least these northern three. Yeah. I mean, we should discuss, like, Germany only has 3 to take from Russia, right? And I assume at this point they're also saying to France, maybe I can donate you some centers to keep even. If France is going, I want a chance to win. But Germany just has so many units right here, and the war against you is gonna take one of them. Whereas for France, it's everything, right?
That's why I
So,
was pitching France to retreat into Berlin, actually.
oh, but
Because if
then they,
France had retreated into Berlin, then France would be on 10, which is 2 above Germany. Germany would have to disband something, probably that army in Livonia. So
mhm.
Germany's not able to take everything from from Russia, or one fewer at least. It means he has to be more obvious about repositioning over there, as opposed to with St. Petersburg, which kind of naturally made it down to Livonia. So that part, well, that would be huge for France. France builds an extra unit, Paris maybe, to go with everything to help hold Belgium. And Germany still needs France to attack Italy, right? Germany is not going to do it alone. He needs that extra pressure on me. So I think the retreat into Bohemia is potentially the mistake.
Maybe I don't know. I see why, right? Because I think as France in this position, you're in a really impossible spot. I mentioned this before.
Yeah.
So if you think diplomatically, you can by doing this retreat, you can get Germany to like pull North Sea back to Denmark or something, or Holland into Kiel and rear forward. Then that could work, but
Fundamentally, if you think that Germany's never going to attack you, ever, then you
mhm.
can make a move like this. But if you think the way we do, Germany's biding his time and is going to stab at the end of the game to go for his win, then you're like, I agree. As France, your position sucks,
Yeah.
right? You're the one on the front line and Germany's behind you, which is very rare. It's so difficult for this to happen. But because Italy is huge, France has to pull south. That's what you were talking about in the FG. When France pulls south, Germany gets the upper hand in that alliance.
Mhm.
And because France is rightfully worried about 11th century Italy needing to get pressure or else nobody else wins, France is the one doing that pressure. France isn't getting anywhere. It's tough.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
he's the only person who I feel like I can like reasonably talk to make deals because Germany's like, oh, this game's hopeless and no one's going to win. Why don't we just all draw? And I'm like, all right, propose a draw then. And he doesn't. And I'm like, all right. So, yeah.
and then were the draws not taken on Backstabber? I
I
assume
think they were supposed to be on Backstabber, yeah.
okay. Because there's no like official propose a draw thing there. You just set your draw condition, right? And if everyone has the same draw condition set when the turn processes, then it draws. But
Yeah.
so the thing about that is essentially the same as a hidden draw vote. So someone can go, oh, I really want to draw. I'm clearly not going to win this. It's draw time, right? Who's denying the draw? And then have their win condition set to solo victory, or their draw condition set to solo victory only. So
Yeah.
which it sounds like is what this Germany was doing at the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I assume Russia you couldn't talk to because they were just like, well, you
They were
screwed me.
pissed at me because I knocked them out of the game.
Yes. I would be too.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Like we were trying to work together, and then I think we had a chance much earlier in the game, but
Mhm.
it reached a point where I didn't feel like that was realistically going to happen, and I was too worried about his relationship with Germany at the time. Because as we've seen, Germany does love to fake attack someone and then not attack them. So I feel like my read was actually very accurate about the types of plays that this Germany wants to do. And so the fact that he made aggressive moves against Russia in the spring doesn't mean he's attacking Russia in the fall. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't. I regret it because I think if I'd done it the first time in the spring, it would have been enough to get Russia to attack Germany, but I understand why I did what I did, and I'm gonna make those types of mistakes again.
Mm-hmm.
It is a weakness in my own game. All right, let's go to the spring where we can see my other biggest mistake of this game.
Okay, spring 1908. Let me see
Look
if
at
I can
Bulgaria. Sorry.
Oh.
Oh, I got ahead of you.
No, so Army Bulgaria hold?
Uh-huh.
Instead of Army Bulgaria support, Constantinople hold? No, Ezio, no! God, that's so consequential too, because you can't cover Aegean and Smyrna. You've only got the one fleet. You have to bring Ionian Sea this way now, and that opens you up to France. That's a nightmare. God, why? Did you just assume Bull would be tapped? Did you just forget? I assume you just forgot, right? To order this
I
unit.
assumed it was just going to be tapped, man.
Oh no.
It was real bad.
Never enter holds. I mean, you can
Never enter holds.
but never enter holds when there's a justifiable support to enter.
Just don't enter holds like that, man. That's terrible. Just don't do it.
God, no, that's so horrible, though. It's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, tactically that's a massive blunder. Sorry, Ezio. We have to criticize you this time.
That's absolutely abysmal. You can only fight the entire board if you're playing precisely with every unit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. No. And you're losing ground at the same time. You lost Tyrolia, so this has to retreat to Venice. Now you've got to cover Vienna, Trieste, Budapest with these 2 units only. Oh, God. Is France really gonna, like, support Germany into Vienna? Maybe Germany supports France into Vienna, or, like, they swap something? But France is rotating English shallow back. They've got nothing on the UK. Oh. No. This is terrible.
Absolutely
Honestly,
terrible. If I support held Con, it would have been playable still.
Mm-hmm.
It was still playable astoundingly, because Con just supports hold Ankara. It's a fleet in Ankara. Everything's fine. I still get the extra center. I killed Austria for this, and I screwed it up because I didn't have Bulgaria import a goddamn support hold. I just...
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Alright. And now, effectively, Germany is on... Because France can't defend these 2 dots, right? So Germany is on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra.
Yeah.
So Germany is on 13?
Yeah.
Here, and you stay on 11 because of this. Maybe
I
even
don't take
10
Ankara.
because of...
I'm probably losing something, right? Yeah. What a brutal way to go. All right, let's go to the fall.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say that I would always fight a top board to the very end, right? But man, oh man, this is the kind of situation where you'd be tempted to just say, "Oh my god, that was such a blunder. I just want to be done."
Get me out. Yeah.
Okay. I assume this wasn't agreed. Maybe this one was agreed. This one doesn't look agreed, especially with France trying to go forward here and Germany putting 2 on Belgium.
Germany finally makes a play and stabs France. And it's a real stab on France.
Okay.
And France comes to me and says, all right, Ezio, let's win. You're going to win. And I say, oh, thank God.
Okay. Is it too late?
Is it too late?
So France came to you and said outright, I want to throw to you now because Germany did this to me.
Yes.
Okay. That's huge. Does that balance out how many centers Germany is going to get? Because Germany has Belgium guaranteed now, right, as well? They're going up Liverpool, up London, probably getting these 3, and maybe even Sevastopol as well. That's a lot of centers. How many can France reasonably give you?
Well, that's what we should decide in the power rankings, eh?
Oh yeah. Should I just go through to the winter?
We can look in the east again. We can see that I get my army in Ankara popped.
Yeah.
Pristine tactics once again from Ezio. What a beast! What a man!
Well, on the plus side, you actually do manage to defend all of these with 2 units, which is actually insane.
I'm a god sometimes, but also at other times I am the joke of a man who's embarrassment.
But yeah, army coming down here is problematic now, because that can tap Smyrna, and they can attack Con. You've got... Yeah, this is a rough situation now. This whole border is just kind of rough. Everything started going downhill when you reevaluated your army fleet balance. I think.
I needed more armies, man.
Yeah, if you had more armies, genuinely, I think you would have been doing better here.
Yeah. Keep building armies.
Alright, so, sorry, you said, was there anything else you want to talk about here before we go through to winter?
It was just that. I did want to highlight that I am happy with how I played the tactics in the East. Because I think that was pretty, and me getting Ankara popped was embarrassing, but also it's fine. It's not really the end of the world.
Yeah. Alright, let's go through to winter. We got the power rankings. Well, first we need to say goodbye to Austria. They do drop off the power rankings on account of being dead. Well done to Turkey for still being alive. That is honestly very surprising right now. And then, of course, we got Russia and France here. And then the question is Ezio more likely to win if France is throwing to him? Or is Germany just going to win because Russia is throwing to him? Whew. No, I don't... So... Germany is currently on 10 supply centers, and Italy is on 11 supply centers. With current estimations, I think Germany is going to gain Liverpool, Belgium, Warsaw, Moscow, and potentially Sevastopol, which would put them on 15. You selected later in the Paris method, yeah?
I did.
Okay, so you have the tiebreak on them, which actually could be really consequential here.
Absolutely.
Are you likely to gain 4 supply centers? 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, yeah. Does France manage to keep Brest and Paris in the case that they're throwing that stuff to you? God, and I guess you actually have to hang on to all of this as well with the current line against Russia, although that French unit there will help you. Man, that's tough. That's really tough. I think I give you the upper hand here, actually. Like, maybe just slightly? I don't know, what's your assessment?
I think I have this on lock if France wants to throw. I think it's guaranteed.
Because
if France hard throws to me, I think it's done.
Okay.
By convoying, I'm going to get Portugal, Spain, Marseille, guaranteed. And I'm going to get something else like Paris or Brest or Munich. If France hard throws, I think it's done. Oh, and Tunis, of course.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like if I'm getting to 15, if that's the number that I have to get to, I can do that.
All right. I mean, I think I agree. Looking at the situation, like 1, 2, 3, 4, it's one hell of a turnaround from the previous phase.
Oh yeah.
But
we can play this one. We can fight.
All right. Shall we have a look as it goes forward then? So I'm leaving the power rankings like this. For the record, I do think Germany still has a pretty decent shot.
Sure.
Like I don't know that it's on lock. I think they could manage it, but we'll
I think
see.
they could. Like, okay, to be clear, if it's at the point where if you're Germany and Russia, and if you could see my moves, like if you had a precog, you could still win. There are going to be guesses involved, but it's one of those things that like there are relatively few guesses involved, and I'm not that bad of a tactical player. When I get into a position like this, it's going to work out.
Yeah.
And so once I heard that France was going to throw, I felt like the game was done, and it was just a matter of time. It looks a little bad in this spring, and you can see it, but everything gets locked, and we work out some stuff tactically. We're like, yeah, there are specific issues that we're gonna have to work out, but we'll get there.
Okay, should we just look through all of these then quickly?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look at any of the tactics, there are some fun things going on. Where
Pushing
it's like,
Tyrolia back up to Bohemia, trying to blow that up, and then France retreats into Vienna.
yes,
I
because
guess
I want
to help
Chris to
you
have an
hold
extra
your
unit.
line. Yeah.
Yeah, I want him to have the extra unit because I don't want him to disband too much on the German front, and I'm going to be able to retake Vienna anyways. If Germany wants to get stuff from Russia, Germany has to really hard, right? If Germany wants to pick up Moscow, Warsaw, and Sev, right? Germany has to push to make that happen. One of the fun tactical lines that I was looking at was actually just like slowing down Germany's push east and like messing with Galicia and stuff to try to slow it down. But I didn't think that was necessary because, as established, Germany's upper limit is getting Liverpool, Warsaw, Moscow, Sev, and so it's like Germany and Belgium, of course, right? So that okay, that gets your rate of 15. I just have to get the 15 to win. I don't even have to worry about all that nonsense. I'm going to take all of Iberia and then I'll be done, more or less.
Yeah. Alright. Shall we go to fall then?
Yeah, fall 1909.
Okay.
And this is when you can see me really start feeling cocky with my moves. I'm not taking guesses on anything anymore. Right? Like you saw when I was pushing for advantages earlier in the game, I was like attacking from Budapest and like covering it with stuff and like leaving small openings. Here I just everything is locked.
Yeah.
Right? Support, support, support. What are you gonna do? Show me what you got. And maybe I was a little too overconfident, honestly. And like we make a mistake with this Burgundy move. With Burgundy tapping Ruhr, we should have had Burgundy hold. It would have been much better. And it's weird because we said never hold or support hold Belgium to hold. I guess so we should have technically done. But
Yeah.
often tapping is good. But here we'd much rather be in Burgundy rather than Ruhr because we don't want the German army in Burgundy. But either way, I still get everything, so it's fine.
I mean, your main problem here is if Germany manages to pick up one extra, right? Whether that be from... I mean, Romania seems very unlikely to be able to get there, given the unit count you have around it. The more likely thing is if they pick up Paris or Brest, then where does your extra dot come from? Because Tunis, Marseille, Spain, Portugal is what you can reasonably get to. It's gonna be really hard for Germany to get one of these dots in time, but it is feasible. And if that happens, I think you might lose. So, yeah. This is why what you say about Burgundy is important, because Burgundy is crucial for Germany getting one of these two.
It can still technically have a problem, but we notice that we can support Marseille into Burgundy and cut Munich, which will guarantee that Marseille gets into Burgundy, and cut Belgium, which ensures that Marseille gets into Burgundy. And then if Picardy covers Paris, then either Burgundy bounces with Paris and forces the disband, and then Burgundy's disbanded, and then I can walk into Paris, or we can support Paris into Picardy while English Channel cuts Belgium and then gets it.
Okay, I guess this would make more sense if we had it on the blank map, right? They do get the extra build, but you can cut that from Ruhr or from Tyrolia. So, yeah, you can absolutely get into Burgundy, and then I assume you just get Paris after that, if that happens. And then you're even over the top, so you don't need the tiebreak.
Yes.
Yeah. Alright, anything more you want to talk about here, or shall we just keep plowing on?
We can keep going.
Alright. So, spring 1910, final year of the game. I don't think I mentioned that the end year was 1910, but it is. Which It raises the interesting question of, would you still have been able to win if Germany had stabbed 1 year later? I think the answer is no, right?
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Germany does get into Romania. Suddenly it will become very important to get them out of there. But they have one
No, I have a
turn to take...
tiebreaker.
Oh yeah, that's true, and you're getting Paris. And they have one turn to take Moscow, so they have to send Sevastopol north to get it, which removes some of their options, right?
Yeah, but again, it doesn't matter if they do, because I'm getting everything. And I have a tiebreaker, so it's done. Like I said, I was confident it was done once I knew France was throwing.
Mm-hmm.
And here's an example of why. So, boom.
Shall we go to fall?
Yeah.
Okay. Fall 1910. You do get into Paris here. And it's Portugal and Spain. And Germany gets Warsaw. Romania doesn't bother taking Moscow. So leaving Russia alive at the end of the game here. But yeah, that's interesting actually, because as Germany, I think I would have gone for Moscow and then asked Russia to take the gamble on whether you attack Ankara or whether you need to... Wait, is that a gamble? No, you would get one of the two for sure if you go for both, right? Anyway, it's all unimportant because these are the final moves, and then on the final turn, we have this center count. Italy 16, Germany 15, France 1, Russia 1, Turkey 1. So, Ezio's Olympus journey is not over.
Pulled it out. And it's because I got ridiculously lucky by getting Italy in last pick and having a friend in Austria who just wanted to let me take everything.
Well, I mean, proposing the Key Lepanto was pretty important, I think, to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was a hell of a game. Like, actually incredible. And very well played to Germany, too, by the way, getting into this position. Honestly, it was a pretty well played game all around, especially, like, when I was looking at France. The way they tried to play their position once they were in that impossible position, trying to keep both sides balanced and to keep fighting on both fronts to some extent, I think that was like really commendable. Even though I don't know if there was ever a way that it could have worked, but it was the best shot they had of it working, I think.
I think so. I think it's really, again, for everyone else in this game, it's really tough to get a win when you have someone who has gotten so strong so early and is just pushing for a better and better position the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it really tough. And I think Germany in particular had a really good chance at winning in spite of that, which is incredibly done. And for France, I think their mistakes came a little earlier. I think by the time England was dead, their position looked really rough.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I agree. I think especially just when they got their fleet trapped in Belgium, that was really problematic for French front, because you really need multiple fleets here against England, just to be able to secure those centers safely. But yeah.
Yeah.
It was an absolutely fascinating game. And Ezio, I really look forward to seeing you in the final then. I mean, as we're recording this, you are currently playing the final, right? Which is what you're...
A phase just adjudicated. And spoiler alert, guys, I don't think next video is going to be a long one.
We'll see when we get there. No spoilers.
We'll see
no spoilers.
That one,
But yeah, I look forward to your absolutely dominant performance in the final, Ezio. Against six of the best online players out there.
As a country that I have in this game. Good news. I already know what the title of the video is going to be.
Okay.
Catch us in the next one.